2 brushes. I just appreciate all of you being here. We are trying to work out the technical things, and I am chronically late, so it's like I've got to figure that out. But also, yes, right? Well, okay, thanks for understanding. So tonight, normally we haven't done this with the live stream, but we are allowing people to watch it for free online and to join. That's tonight only, and we'll assess whether that's something that we make available down the road. But essentially, if you want to send out the link, I emailed everybody that signed up with a link to the live stream. So you can jump onto that, or you can send that to somebody if you want them to see what you're doing. And also, if you just go onto YouTube and go to the Hive Collaborative YouTube channel, you just type in the Hive Collaborative, then you should be able to access the live stream. Did it work? Did you access it through the link or through YouTube? I just looked it up, like the Hive Collaborative on YouTube? Awesome, cool. Wait, whoop. You can all find the image that we are painting if you go to paintwithcaleb.com/gallery, or you can just navigate to the painting gallery through the main menu. But if you go to paintwithcaleb.com/gallery, then it will take you to the list of all the paintings that are options for you right now. We hope to have a lot more in the future, but we have almost 100 already. So, so go ahead and pull up that image, and you can save it to your camera roll. It's a little bit easier than keeping it up in the browser. So if you save it to your camera roll, you can zoom in and all of that stuff. It just gets a little wonky sometimes if you're trying to zoom in on the browser for some reason.
Which one are we doing?
So this is it's Summit Springs, and I'm not sure if it shows up with that name on the website. If you go to the event, you can also access the picture, but it's kind of this Bob Ross looking image, right?
And
yes?
I thought that it was watercolor, is it not?
It's acrylic.
Okay.
So, yes.
I thought it said that it was a watercolor class.
Oh, okay. It's, what was that? I do like to change. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to get some paint out to you, and to everyone that is online watching, thank you so much for your patience, and we'll get started really soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you guys take each paint color and take some and then pass it. Okay. So if you'll just take like roughly a dime size of each color, I think that will be really good. Between like let's say a nickel size ish, you know, and some of these, they come out fast, and if you don't get exactly a nickel size, it's not the end of the world. Okay. Maybe later. Okay. Okay, so while we definitely will. So in fact, while I am passing around these paints, if you'll take, just a little bit of each of these. All right, so what we are working on here at the Hive Collaborative, by the way, isn't this place awesome? Okay, this place is so cool. It's in a 125-year-old building. Okay, this place has been around for a long time. And it's got some interesting stories and history behind it. So this place is so cool. It's owned by Ken Agel, who is awesome. We met when he was producing a film that I was acting in, like when I was 10 years old. Right, so I've known him for a long, long time. And he and Davis, his son, who is phenomenal. He is a fantastic person and an amazing tech guy. He, along with Ken, his dad, basically built everything that you see, right? And his other kids helped with the interior decorating. It was like a family thing, and it's just turned out amazing. Behind this wall here is a little black box theater, so it holds about 86. And so they just wrapped up a comedy here, a musical comedy that was original, written by Ken and his brother. And then also they use this space, they rent it out for a bunch of film crews and photo shoots and different things. Companies like Angel Studios come and they use the space. There's a big white screen over there, a big white cyc wall that they use for filming. Is that blue almost gone? That is fine. Yep, more coming your way. I'm just kind of blabbering. But basically, we are creating an Academy of Visual and Performing Arts here. So you'll be able to take classes and courses in like just about anything you can imagine. So we'll have acting classes and dance classes and classes in film and writing, creative writing, and different things like that. We'll also have painting, drawing, sculpting, pottery. It's just going to be fantastic. Underwater basket weaving? Yeah. We'll get the pool in here soon. That's the next phase. Okay. Next phase. Okay, so there is more of this blue. Of course, it's running low too, but we'll get this going around over here. Has everyone gotten the tan? Okay, I need to remember to give myself these colors. Okay, and then we need the white. Okay, take a little bit of that. So everybody, we officially launch Hive Studio, which is the name of the academy, which is going to be for youth and adults. So don't think that, when you hear academy, that's just like, for young people or something like that. And it's really anybody that wants to come take a course or a paint night like this. And we're launching on September 5th. Launching on September 5th. We'll start with, there's a paint night that night on September 5th. So definitely check it out if you want to come to that. Please do. But starting September 5th, you'll be able to register for classes and different courses. And then slowly, within the coming months, we'll have a lot of different courses and classes made available to you. So, okay, so we're going to start off with these colors. White, we've got kind of a light blue, but if anybody online is looking at the supplies list that I gave, I just said like a primary blue. So this light blue that I'm passing around to you guys just helps us get a little bit closer to that sky blue without using up as much white. But essentially, we're just going to use, we're going to create a light blue for the sky. And if you don't have the image pulled up on your phone, I recommend that you do that because it will help a lot. Okay, we do have white getting passed around. Sorry, you guys didn't get it over here, huh?
How come the one I have is horizontal and theirs is off? Am I looking at the wrong one?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my bad. Yeah. Okay. I totally didn't realize that. So some of you may have a horizontal version of this painting because I realized that the one in the event is vertical and the one in the gallery is horizontal. Okay. Now, I will tell you right now that I am planning on doing the vertical one. And if you want to do the horizontal one, you can totally look at that as your reference and do the horizontal one. All right. There will be a little bit more to it just because it's extended out just a bit. But if you feel like confident that you're like, okay, yeah, I want to do the horizontal one and you like that, definitely go for that. But I'll be demonstrating the vertical one. So if you do want to find the vertical one, I apologize. It will be in the event on the website, and you can see the image there. So, did I say something? Yes, I did. Okay. Will you please pass these out to people around you? Will you please pass those around? Will you pass these down, please?
No, I don't come here. Go to you.
hivecollaborative.com. You can learn more about this place, and you can see a virtual tour of the whole building, and then that's where you'll go to learn about Hive Studio. That's going to be, launching really soon. Yeah. Now, this is Jake, my brother, and so if just understand that he's my brother, because he will heckle me. He will heckle the heck out of me. So just be prepared for that. And to any of you who cannot hear the amazing things that he says, to anybody online, I'm sorry if you can't hear. I'll probably have to repeat so that you can all enjoy Jake's comments. One of the ones you may have missed was he asked if it was too late to change the painting. But, sometimes when he's here, he'll ask that like halfway through. So, at least he asked a little bit sooner. He also asked, at one of the other paint nights, he asked, when we were about to take the picture at the end with our paintings, he said, "Is it too late for a refund?" I was like, wow, thanks. Thanks, Jake, thanks. All right, where did that white, can you?
Some of us got till, but not everybody
Oh,
did.
okie dokie.
Thank you.
Oh, that's okay for now. Come on. White is always the one we need most of. And I have, let's get this guy going around too. Here's some of this darker teal. Oh, it's very low again, but so there's a dark teal, yeah, getting passed around on this side, and then you guys have the same bottle on that side. Okay, there was a tub of white. That's okay, this one's low too, but it's fine. Okay. All right, you guys. Well, like I said, you've all been so patient. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I frantically get stuff ready. But we're gonna get started. I'm Jake. We're gonna get started. Oh man, I ripped the my apron. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, if you're gonna, I would put higher and really
Totally forgot about that.
yeah, it's gonna make a lot of sense.
Yeah, sorry if I just blew out somebody's ears. Okay. Can you hear me okay? Is this all right? It's kind of facing downward, but
Yeah, I can still hear you.
okay. If you have any issues, let me know. Okay. Okay, this is so cool because I normally am facing the other way while I'm doing paint night. So this is the first time that I'm like actually able to like face you guys like this. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be really strange, but I mean for me, just like hard to get used to. But it's going to be really cool because I'll be able to see you without having to like turn around all the time, and you won't have to stare at my big old bald spot and stuff like that. But I did name it Bald Ross, so, there's that. So, yes, we are starting. Okay, so all of you, we're going to use the largest brush here. We've got just like a big old chip brush, and that will help us just cover the canvas quicker for some of our quick background stuff. And we are going to not worry much about any kind of details right now, or worry about any sort of like perfection. okay, throughout the entire paint. Not really, we're not going to focus on trying to get anything perfect because it's just that it doesn't exist, right? It's just not going to happen. And it may turn out on your canvas a little bit differently or even very differently than what you have in your mind. But just remember that sometimes the paint has something different in mind and you kind of have to roll with it. And also, sometimes it's tricky to get it to be just like you want it. But remember to be patient with yourselves, just like you would be with somebody else. You're not going to turn to the other person and you're not going to be like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. Like, what is wrong with you and what did you do to your painting? You're not going to say that to anyone. And if you do, then you should probably leave and get help. But anyway, remember to be patient with yourselves and to just enjoy the journey of painting. And of course, I will walk around and help you guys with any questions you may have. Yeah. So we're going to start out with the large chip brush. I'm going to get it a little bit wet. Just dip it in the water and then get the excess drips off on the side of the cup. And then I'm going to take some white paint, a little blob of white. Yeah.
Is it white on white to defeat the purpose of painting?
Yes, white on white. Well, Bob Ross does it. So, okay. By the way, speaking of Bob Ross, if any of you feel like what you've done, like what you've created, or what something that a mark that you've made, or a step that you've done is a kind of a disaster, or you feel like you've ruined it, please let me know. More of the dark blue? Yeah. Yeah, in fact, we probably won't need much of the dark blue just yet. So what you can do is you can open up that large lid or tub, and then just like with the back of the brush, you can kind of scoop some out. Sorry to give you like the last of these paint colors, but we try not to waste them, So if you feel like you've made a disaster or something, I will come over and help you turn whatever you feel like is a mistake into a happy accident. Okay, now I'm going to add some blue, some of this light blue into the white paint. If you wanted to, you could actually take the dark blue and do the same thing, and you'd basically get the same result, but you just have to add more white. So for anybody online with like different shades of blue and things like that, just know we just need to. Oh yeah, you want to see the palette, huh? Yeah, I can also try to hold it up and stuff. Awesome. Thanks, Davis. That's great. So we're just going to create like a very pale baby blue color, right? We want it to be very pale. The tendency is to make it very, very blue, and that's okay, but at the same time, typically that will make it feel a little more stylized and a little less realistic, which is fine. We're not going for photorealism here. But if you want to have it be a little bit more natural, we're going to make it more of a pale baby blue, which will require more white. And I'm just going to kind of scrub this on here, just paint back and forth every which way. The strokes don't really matter. In fact, if you were to go left to right like this, then it kind of makes it feel a little bit unnatural, I guess, just because you see these perfect strokes back and forth. So if you can kind of just do these messy brush strokes, to me, I really like how that looks because it just feels a little bit more organic and natural. By the way, if you cannot hear me like when I'm giving any instructions, please let me know and I'll be glad to repeat it. Very funny. You're going to find out. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and paint the entire canvas with this color. If you start to run low on this paint color, you can either make more or just do the best with what you got. because we really don't necessarily need this color to be covering the canvas completely, but it does kind of add some unity to it if we've got the whole canvas with this blue color. Okay. So I'm using a little too much water here in this part down here. So you're going to notice that it will start to kind of drip. So if you have too much water on the brush or mixed into the paint, then you'll get kind of these drips and it will be very transparent. It's not always a bad thing, but okay. I encourage you to paint the sides of your canvas as well, top and bottom as well. Okay, and since we're sitting down here, it's very easy to miss parts of the top. So I would tip it towards you and paint the top edges that way. Make sure you paint the sides. And then to do the bottom, you can just carefully flip it over and rest it on the easel like so, on the top of the easel. And then you can just paint the other edge. No, we'll add more color to it. We're really just focused, we're mainly focused on the light blue that's going to be the sky. So a lot of this is going to be covered up, so definitely don't be too precious with it. But we'll leave that there for this bottom edge to dry. So you can even just like flip it back over if you want and just let it dry. Now, if any of you need more of a certain color at any time, please come and grab it, or kind of ask around, see who's got that certain color, and then you can grab it from them. We're gonna go on to clouds in just a moment. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. What do you need?
White already.
Here's that for you. It's going to be a little bit tricky, but I will keep looking for a new tub of white. Oh, hey, found one. Yay. This will make life so much easier. Yes. So everybody, I just found the big tub of brand new white. I knew it was here somewhere. And so this will make life so much easier, especially since we will be using a lot of white to mix colors. So here's that for you. And then if you will just kind of check in with your table and area to see if they need that. Yeah, we'll get it over at this table in just a moment. Also, there is like a blob here if you want to, or you can wait for the other one to come around. Either way. Okay. Oh yeah. Yep. I was thinking that we should give out extra trays to everyone. I just don't know if we have enough of the styrofoam ones. What are you looking for? What do you need? Oh, okay. Yeah, they're just at my table. Oh, you got some? Jake, did you remember seeing any round paper plates? I know we just don't have enough for everyone to have like a second one, but I was thinking like it would be nice to have a second. We could arm wrestle for it. Yeah, let's just see who wins. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, we're about done. Yeah, so. This guy. Okay, so we have a few more trays, but if you would like, you can make one tray your mixing tray and one tray your like just paint color tray. So I will pass out a few plates here that you can use. I found some plates, Davis. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. We'll use these. And then here are a few plates you guys can pass around as needed if you would like an extra mixing. Yes? Jake wants a tea refill. Okay.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Oh, you got enough? Okay, I'll just set these here anyway.
Can you hand that white piece to them?
What about the white paint? Oh, we can pass it around here? Okay. All right,
Oh, yeah,
here's this. You want this? Okay, awesome. All right, now for this this next step, I don't think we're actually gonna need these really large brushes for the remainder of the paint night. So if we could just kind of gather them up and just set them on a corner of the table, that would be awesome. And then we'll get those thrown in the sink and we'll keep going. So again, just if you can just pass those brushes, that would be awesome. Also, we have a dump bucket for when eventually your water gets really, full of color. Then we have a dump bucket where you can put the old water, and then we'll have pitchers of water here to change out your water. So, would one of you or both of you be willing to fill these up? Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. We're about ready to move on. Just make sure that your canvases are all covered and that if you can all just set those larger brushes on the corner of your table when you're done, that would be awesome. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Will you please pass these around to your people at your table? All right, so for anybody online, I am getting the chalk out because we will be using that to do some sketching. So if you'll pass that down. Come on. Yeah, yes, you can. Sorry, I thought I handed out enough, but okay, here we go. We've got some chalk for you. You'll just pass those down. Oh, cool. Oh, that's why. Okay, got it. Okay, and then we'll do some chalk here. You'll pass that down. That would be awesome. There's some chalk for you. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to start to kind of map out our painting with the chalk. So this is a great method. Instead of like sketching out with paint or something like that, or with a pencil, it's really nice to use the chalk because it easily can be rubbed off and removed. And so nothing is permanent, but it allows us to kind of get an outline of things. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start to figure out where I want the mountains to be and some of these basic elements. But just remember that you can make it your own. You do not have to make it exactly how I'm doing it. But of course, at the same time, if you wanted to, you can totally just copy what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this mountain at about maybe a third of the way down from the top of the canvas. And I'm going to come out like so. And by the way, we want to avoid any perfectly straight lines or anything that looks too geometric and perfect looking. We really want to lean into the organic nature of this painting and the fact that these are mountains and trees. So try to make everything a little bit bumpy and a little bit rough and stuff. So I'm gonna have this larger peak here, and then it's going to, at about the halfway mark, halfway lined up, you know, going from left to right, about halfway, we are going to create this other peak here. And let me know if you're not able to see, you know, if you need me to change anything about the angle of the camera. So we've got this, and then it's just going to come down and sort of disappear. Okay, and if it's more helpful, I'll try to bring this closer to the camera, except for that's not super helpful, is it? Is it too pale? Because like what I'm seeing back there is like you can kind of see it, but are you guys able to see it okay? Yeah, okay. So I've got these mountains there, and you'll see that they're kind of high up, but we still want some room to put some clouds and different things like that. Okay, and I am going to just kind of smudge this out because I think I want this line instead. Now, if you really want to move something and you don't want to have multiple kind of conflicting lines or distracting lines, you can just take a little bit of water on a clean paintbrush and just smudge it out like so, and it will disappear. Or you can put a little bit of water on a paper towel and smudge it out with your finger too. You can do it that way also. So yeah, now we're gonna, I would say, even though we're going to go into the clouds in just a bit, but I think I want to just establish where this horizon line is going to be, kind of this horizontal line at the bottom of the mountains. And I would say it's right about at the halfway, or maybe a touch below the halfway mark. So I'll probably put it about here and just do a line straight across. So when I say just below halfway, I would say like no more than an inch below the halfway mark, if you're kind of imagining.
This one?
Yes, exactly. That, yep, just at the bottom of the mountain. And yeah. All right, so we're going to come back to the sketching and all of that, but we're going to move on to the clouds. So we'll paint in some clouds, and then we'll be able to slowly move forward in our painting. So usually with acrylic paints, you paint back to front. So you'll paint the things that are farthest away from you first, and then paint things that are closer to you. So I'm going to take some, either one of the brushes. You can choose either one of the smaller brushes. Remember that the really large brushes we don't really need to use. If you feel like you want to, though, you definitely can. But I'm going to just get a little bit of white here, and I'm going to set it aside on a different part of my palette, and I'm going to water it down a little bit. So it can be anywhere on the palette. Just going to water it down just a touch so it's a little bit liquidy, pretty thin. If you make it so thin that it's like dripping everywhere, then it'll probably just become super transparent and not so helpful, but we are just going to thin it down a touch. And now what I'm going to do is start to create some clouds, but check this out, everybody. If you are painting clouds, there are lots of different ways you can paint clouds. But if you're going to make some that are kind of fluffy looking and not just like horizontal wispy ones like that, then you want to use this little kind of scrubbing technique where you're kind of little circles and whatnot. And you can also do a combination of those little circles as well as like little crisscross shapes and things like that, little dabs. So there are little ways that little things you can do to get your clouds to look natural. One thing you want to avoid, and I will do a little demonstration down here where we're just going to cover it up. But if you do clouds like this, okay, that's a no. Okay, that's, there are no rules to art, but no. Okay, so so if you want more natural clouds, check this out. A lot of times, really, clouds are all over the place, but sometimes you'll have more of a flat edge on the bottom, kind of like this, but you see that it's not a straight line. It's still blobby. Embrace the blob, okay? And then it might come out like this and have parts that will reach out and then come back in, meaning you might have a big puffy part here, and then it comes down and it's lower, and then maybe another puffy part up here. And you want for it to be like not just a solid chunk. You want for some of these parts to really like reach out. This is a very similar technique to painting bushes and stuff like that too. The idea is you want it to look random, and you don't want a single cloud to look just like another cloud. Okay, you want all of them to feel different. So it really is up to you with how you do the clouds. But and if you're really unsure, you could totally look at the reference and just kind of follow that. But I'm going to take some of this. You can also smudge it. Since it's watered down, it'll be really easy to move the paint and just kind of smudge it around. And then you can get some really cool, like wispy effects where it's like you don't really see harsh edges. So that's very important with clouds, because typically you're not going to see super harsh edges with the clouds. So you might throw down a few strokes like this and then smudge it with your finger and try to get all of those edges to be soft. This will also, if you diffuse the edges of the clouds and make them blurry and kind of smudged out, it will also allow for us to focus more on the foreground and what's going on with the mountains and the trees, instead of getting distracted with really detailed or harsh clouds. Okay, so again, like if you need to, you can just smudge it out. You want to make all of your clouds very different from each other. You don't want, here's a chunk and then here's a copy, and then you just like paste it, in a different place. So some of these clouds should connect to each other. Some of these clouds can just be off on their own. I think I'll make this one just go all the way to the corner. You really can choose whatever you want to do, but just try to make these clouds look wispy and not too harsh. And if you want to, you can even throw in like a different style of cloud. So like you could throw in one that's a little bit more vertical here. Or not vertical, horizontal. That's what I meant to say. And you might get different styles of clouds if you want. It really doesn't matter too much. Yeah. I hope you put a pyramid somewhere in there. And I hope there are aliens. I mean, yes. If you're gonna do a pyramid, please do aliens. What? Oh, yeah. If anybody is having issues with the clouds, let me know, and I'm happy to come over and look at them. Remember just to kind of smudge them out and. So here's the trick: is that you do need to, if you're going to smudge them and like diffuse them, you need to do it quickly because it dries so fast. And so that is something that I should definitely warn people of. So if you get harsh edges that you're not sure how to get rid of, what you can do is there are a few things you can do. You can cover it with blue and kind of with a like a light blue color. You can sort of cover up some of the cloud that you don't want. So you could actually use some of that light blue and smudge it in with your finger, and you can actually, diffuse your clouds that way. Or you can just continue to put additional white paint over some of those edges and see if you can diffuse it that way. But let that sky blue color work as sort of an eraser where it's covering up, parts that you may not want. Also, remember to let some of these clouds spread out to avoid having those like really concise chunks of clouds. And make sure that you've got them going different angles, different directions. Some are thick, some are thin, or whatnot. Is it just super pale? Is that the problem?
Yeah, but also because it looks better on the cameras, but it doesn't look very good on TV screens.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Like the camera, if you look at it, looks like that.
Oh, yeah, and you can see what's going on. Yeah.
But the TVs are a little more washed out.
That's
it's
okay.
one of the
That's
great
okay.
struggles of filming.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Screens aren't always the same.
Yeah. No.
In the same settings, your screens aren't all the same.
Yeah. No worries. No worries. Oh, well, thank you, Davis. You're doing great. Okay. All right, so I'll show you what I've got going with the clouds. They're very subtle, but if you want to, you could take some white paint. If you want to like brighten them up, you could take some white and, for example, you can brighten up certain areas like this in the center or whatever. But you can also give like sort of the essence of a silver lining if you were to go with pure undiluted white paint and kind of trace around some of the edges of this. And then you can get a lot more definition if you wanted to, right? Because what I taught you here was like wispy and very diffused and blurred out. But if you wanted to, you could get some that are very defined with this sort of, whatchamacallit? Silver lining kind of a thing, okay? And so I'll just have maybe this cloud be more defined and the others can be more blurred out. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. And then the cool thing is if I feel like, wow, that's not looking how I want it to, or it's very distracting, I can always change it later. So we're going to move on. I know you might be, making changes and edits to your clouds, but if you're able to move on, that would be awesome. Even if you need to go back to it, totally fine. But we just want to keep things moving. So I'm going to, even though I'm not like 100% happy with the way my clouds are, I'm going to just roll with it and let them be. And it's really hard to put down the brush sometimes, but I encourage you to just let it go, and we'll go on to the next part. All of you should have gotten some gray paint and some tan paint. Is that correct? Do you all have that? Okay. I'm going to make sure I've got the colors that I pass out to you. Who's got the gray paint? Oh, over there. Jake, will you pass me that gray tub?
Am I getting paid?
I'll give you that $20 later. Yeah. Okay, so for this next step, we're going to need basically white, gray, red, and blue, maybe some of the tan. You don't have to remember all of that, but I'm just throwing that out there because we're going to start with our mountain color. Now, the color of this mountain can be more bluish if you want it to be blue. If it can be more purple if you want it to be purple, because if you're familiar with, like, if you look out, depends on the day and maybe the time of day, but if you look out over Mount Timpanogos, right, you're going to see, or any of the mountains if you're from around here in Provo, you look at any mountains that are far away, they're going to look either very purpley or very blue and very pale. And it's a really cool thing. And it's the atmosphere that's causing it to look blue or purple. And it's the distance. Because if you were to look at that mountain, for example, I love Mount Timpanogos, and I see it in the distance from my house. But if I were to walk right up to the mountain, or even hike that mountain, do you think that mountain is going to look blue? No. As I walk it, it's going to be brown, it's going to be green, there's going to be, plants and stuff. But from a distance, it's going to be very faded. And so as things get farther away from us, they get more pale and they get more blue. That's just a general rule. It's not always 100% the rule, but it's a general guideline. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with white. I'm going to separate a blob of white and create a new pile on my plate. And I'm going to take a touch of blue, so probably like, the sky blue. I apologize because I didn't get the darker blue. It's still there. So we're going to stick with this lighter blue for now. So I'm using this like sky blue color, and I'm going to add just a touch of it to this white till we get something similar to what we used for the sky, right? Kind of that pale baby blue. We're going to start off with just a bit of that blue, and we may add more. But then I'm going to add a touch of the gray, about the same amount of blue that I used. I'm going to add that same amount of gray. So this is what I'm getting here, is like a dulled down version of our sky, because I mixed the blue with the white, and then I'm adding the gray. So then and then I'm going to add just a tiny touch of the red, tiny, because the red is super strong, right? And then, of course, that depends on how purpley you want it. So even that amount of red that I added was super strong and made everything pretty purple. I'm okay with it. I really like it. So I think I'll go with something like that. And so this is the color I'm getting. You'll see that it's significantly darker than the sky now that we added those other colors to it. And so I'm going to start by just filling in this mountain here that we've made down to the horizon line. And I'm going to start with the peaks here. And no need to be super perfectionistic or super clean with these lines, because it actually looks a little bit more realistic if they're a little bit muddied. If your lines are wobbly and imperfect, try to avoid any sort of straight lines for the mountains, because otherwise it will look too pyramid-like. Except for Jake, if you're really wanting pyramid, then go for it, Get those perfect lines going. But I am going to try to make these lines a little bit messy and imperfect. And it's crazy how we love chasing perfection, but it's really not what is needed for landscape painting. One thing you also want to do is make sure that these two peaks that you've added, maybe you added more, I don't know, but just make sure that none of them look the exact same as another. And even that on the left side, that the left side doesn't look just like a mirror image of the right side of each peak. So here I feel like I'm getting something that's a little bit too much of a mirror image, maybe too exact. So there are a few different things I could do. I could create like another ledge, like up here. You know what I mean? Like a big cliff that's, and even just that little mark helps break this mountain up to where it's not all the same looking and it doesn't look overly symmetrical. Yeah, you want to do a competition, contest? Okay, so high five. Yoo-hoo. So you might need to mix more. You might need to mix more of this color, and if you don't get an exact match, great. Remember that we're going for natural and not overly perfect here. So Try to get this filled in with messy strokes because that will add texture. If you don't fill it in 100% solid, that's also great. Don't feel like you need to cover up the sky completely because a little bit of that sky color showing through in some areas will just give it some natural texture and do some of the work for you. Okay, so I'm just going to fill that in. What was that? Yeah, we're painting to that horizon line that we put in with chalk. And you can either add a little bit more water as you go down so that this color will sort of fade and just blur out. Or you can add a little bit of white to your color, to this mountain color. And if you want to do kind of the Bob Ross thing where he likes to have that misty look at the bottom. So if you want to do that kind of misty look at the bottom, just add a little bit of white to the color that you're using for the mountains and scrub that in there and just kind of blend it out with your finger or with the brush, kind of scrubbing around, and then you'll get sort of this natural misty effect. Okay, but don't worry about it too much. It's not a hugely important step. It's sort of a bonus thing if you want to throw that in there. Okay, so you'll see that my mountain kind of gets lighter as it goes down, more pale and faded. So just remember, you kind of have to act quickly with these steps, not because I'm trying to rush you, but because the acrylic paints, these are water-based and not oil-based, so they dry very quickly and make it hard to blend, unlike oils like Bob Ross uses, where you could just blend this thing for days. But I love using acrylics instead of watercolor or instead of oils because it allows us to layer so much easier without having to deal with wet paint. Okay. So now that we've got this, I will add a little bit of texture and stuff to the mountains for this next step, but I'll walk around real fast and just see how things are going, see if there are any questions. And awesome, yes, these are great. These are really great. Oh, you're cruising. I love it.
No, I did.
No worries. Yeah, that's great.
She's ahead of everybody.
It's just a good time, Cool, this is great. Now, if you would like, since the skies for all four of you are on the darker side, it's not a problem at all. Just make sure that you compensate by perhaps adding a little bit of maybe the darker blue, a touch of the darker blue and a bit more gray to your mountain color so that it stands out on that dark background. You know what I mean? So we have some contrast.
Is this the dark blue or the purple?
I think that's the dark blue. I don't think purple got passed out. So how are y'all doing? Awesome. These look great. And don't be afraid to go a little bit darker, especially towards the top if you'd like.
Okay.
But just a touch, and we'll be doing some texture in just a minute, which might also give you a chance to give your mountains a little bit of a darker tone. So the idea here, everyone, is that we make sure that we have enough contrast so that the mountain looks a little bit darker than our sky, right? So if you're feeling like if you squint and it's all kind of blending together, or if you feel like, imagine taking a picture of your painting. Okay, so stay with me here because this might be a little tricky to picture or to imagine. But imagine you were to take a picture, and you could actually do this if you would like. You take out your phone, you take a picture of your painting, and this is a contrast test. You put it on black and white mode, and you take a picture of your painting. If the painting just blends together, and you're like not noticing the mountain very much, then that will tell you that your contrast is not very high. If you can turn it on black and white mode and you still notice the mountains very clearly, then that means you do have sufficient contrast. So if you want to, you could totally pull out your phone and do this. And if you, whoa, if my phone is, my phone's about to die, but I do have a charger here somewhere. I'm going to actually do this, and maybe the camera will pick it up. But I'm going to, what am I doing? Photo. How do I actually turn it to black and white mode in the moment? I mean, I could just edit it after, but here we go. Okay, so I'll turn it to like one of these black and white modes. I think mono is probably the most accurate. So, are you kissing people? Okay, so I'm gonna take a picture here, and then I'll show the camera here. It still looks maybe a little blue on the camera, but basically, I took a picture of the thing, and you want to just make sure that you can recognize the mountains in front of your sky in black and white mode, right? Now you don't have to do this. You may feel like it's totally obvious that your mountains are standing out, right? But just know in the future as well, in any project that you do, if you take a picture of it in black and white mode, it will be an indicator of whether you have enough contrast or not.
Your edges look crisper. Are they
On the mountains?
at close?
I mean, I can show you, like, I don't know. I
So
feel
mine
like
are
they're
too
very
sm-
similar.
So are mine too smudgy?
No, I feel like it's beautiful.
And I need
It
to
just
add
looks
clouds.
faded.
I need
Oh,
to-
no. These clouds were just my demonstration, so I'm going to
Oh,
end up,
okay.
yeah, rubbing that out or covering that up. But I love how soft the edges are. I would actually keep it that way. If I had the time, I would go back in and soften them probably. So, so we are going to move forward. The mountains that I've been seeing are looking really great. Just make sure that nothing looks exactly the same as the one next to it. And we are going to add some texture to these mountains. And so what I'm going to do is first I'm going to add a bit more blue to that same color that I just used. If you need to, you can make the color over again if you don't have enough. So I'm just going to do some blue, some gray, and a little bit of red. In fact, you can mix both, add to that color that you just used, add a little bit more of all of the colors except for white. So blue, gray, and red. That way we'll get a darker, slightly darker version. Okay, so just kind of omit the white, and we'll keep doing the gray, the blue, and the red. And that was a lot of red, but who cares? We'll go pretty purpley if we want. All right, so now you'll notice that I'm going to get a darker color, and ooh, that was very blue. And what I want to do is I want to water it down a little bit. And we want to be like fairly loose and quick with this. We don't want to overthink it here. But we're going to take this and kind of smudge it around. I'm going to do a few marks, but I'm going to do them on the left sides of these peaks to give the essence, or to give like the illusion of shadow. All right, and I'll do a little shadow here on the left side of this little peak. And I might make these mountains just a touch different than the ones in this demonstration, than the ones on the picture online, just so you get a few different options of kind of like how they could look. I'm going to add a shadow over here on this peak on the left side. Make sure it's always on the left side. And I'm going to break up this mountain shadow in a way that's not just a straight line. Notice that it's very smudgy and imperfect, right? Just lean into that smudgy blobbiness and just try to think of these shapes as three-dimensional that have a shadow, but these peaks could also have, like, there could be an additional peak that's coming forward in front of us. For example, I could just say that this peak on this right side, where my fingers are, is just one big peak and just put a shadow on the left side. Or I could make it more dimensional, more interesting looking by saying right here is going to be another smaller peak that comes out in front of us, right? You see what I'm saying? And now we are adding layers and depth to our painting. And I am taking these shadows and letting them swoop down towards the bottom left corner of the canvas. And then when I do highlights, I'll do kind of the opposite. And you can let these shadows sort of fade as they go down towards the horizon line. Now, if you're feeling like, what the heck am I doing? Then just let me know, and I'd be happy to give you any feedback. And my goal is always to not touch a single canvas except for my own, so that you can feel very proud of yourself for knowing you did it yourself. So notice that, like, I'm not using a ton of paint, and I'm just kind of scrubbing gently, you know, not to destroy the brush, but just to sort of blend things out a bit. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's looking really good. That's looking really good. So just notice that, like, here we're going down towards the bottom right, but we would like for the strokes to go down towards the bottom left a little bit more. But even if you wanted to and just kind of smudge where you can't really see a direction, that looks really great too. So either way, we just kind of want, yeah, you could kind of blend those out and then just make sure that nothing is too straight, right? So you can connect these two, or you can blur them out, or, you know, anything to make it look sort of random. Well, sorry, what was that?
I feel like I made them too dark. I can't.
You know, I think they look really good, but if you would like, you could say that this is your shadow,
Right,
and then
and then
just
go
when you do
backwards with the
highlights,
light.
yeah, and then when you do highlights, you know, I'll show you how to do the highlights.
Kind of lighten it up a little bit. I think.
Yeah, if you'd like to, you can. Yeah, I guess that's kind of essentially making that.
I'm like backwards.
Yeah, no, but that's
I'm
fine.
going backwards.
That's fine. What I would do is, like, maybe do a touch of, like, the dark blue if you want to get a darker shadow, you know, and that's how you could kind of compensate. You just don't want the mountains to go too dark, otherwise they will look
Right, 'cause they
too
look
close
too
to
dark
us.
For me right now already.
But what I would say is just take this color you've got and then just add, like, maybe a touch of this dark blue and some of this gray, you know, and just make sure you've got a color that's slightly, even just slightly darker than what you got there. You're welcome. Okay,
Would you
awesome.
mind sitting down? I'm just trying to.
Am I in your way? I'm so sorry. Oh, this is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. These are looking so good, you guys. Wow. Okay, for real, these are looking really great. I'm loving the smudgy goodness, and yep. Lean into the blobbiness, embrace the blob. Awesome.
So good, I think.
This looks so good. Yes. Now don't be afraid to even add, like, one in front or something, you know. And yeah, that looks so good. How's it going? Ooh, I love it. Love it. Love it. That is awesome. I like these because you've got this, like, more like some of these are more horizontal, which looks like layers of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like layers of, what is it, sediment or something? That's really interesting. I really like that. Ooh, love this. I love that you added some additional peaks where you could have just done this one triangle, but you added more to this, so it's great. Awesome. Okay. Oh, whoa. Sorry. Okay. All right, you are doing awesome, everybody. Now we are going to do some highlights. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse some of that dark paint off of the brush. It helps to just dip the brush real fast in the water and get most of the paint off on the paper towel. Kind of helps your paint stay cleaner for longer. But if you're feeling like your water is a total disaster, then go ahead and just dump out your dirty water in that bucket. Just be very careful not to splash Caitlin. And
Did I splash you? Okay.
oh no, yeah, I didn't think you did, but you know, it's yeah. And then you can refill your cups with clean water. So I'm going to take some white, and I think rather than going with pure white, because that's just going to be too harsh, you could either water it down or you could mix it with some of this darker color that we had from the previous thing. So let's see here. Either one works. Let's do this. Let's take some white, and since we washed out our brushes and all this stuff, let's just water it down. We'll water it down and just use some of this like pale white. If you want to, again, you can mix it with some of that purpley grayish color that you used for the mountains and mix your own color, but you can also just do this with watered down white. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some of these marks that appear at first very bright, but then as you kind of smudge them out and make them blobby, they'll tone down and be like more subtle. Also, as the water inside the paint mixture dries, it will also appear a lot more faded. So you may be thinking that like your highlights are super bright when they're really not. And once they dry, you'll be able to see what that looks like and determine whether you need brighter highlights or whether you're good and you want to keep what you've got. But now I'm going down, swooping down towards the bottom right of the canvas with my strokes. So you'll see that these highlights and kind of this look of maybe snow is going down towards the bottom right, and remember that the same goes for this side where you can add kind of invent a peak that's coming out towards us, and it doesn't need to be, these highlights don't need to be on the entire mountain. It doesn't need to be on every single part of this mountain. Just think of where like the light might be hitting. It's really tricky to just invent lighting. But looking at some references can be really, really helpful for doing mountains. But since we're, and you can definitely look at the example online on my design, but looking at real photos of mountains is even better. But in this case, we're just going to kind of invent it and make it up as we go. And as we go down, you can be more subtle with these highlights. They don't need to be as harsh and super bright. And then just remember to break up these strokes so we don't have solid highlights and like just a solid chunk of white. We want to break up all of these strokes so that it gives it a sort of rocky texture where some of that color underneath is still showing. Yeah? Jake asks if I painted before. I just thought I would try it out, and it seems like it's working out. Funny story though, the first time I ever put a brush to canvas was the night I taught my first paint night.
What?
Yeah, so you heard that right. It was a little terrifying. I'm not gonna lie, but you know what? I was like,
How come you were teaching if you didn't have to paint it?
well, I had been an artist. I'd been a freelance artist for a long time, but and so I had been doing professional art, but I had never painted. It was always like custom portraits drawn with pencil or pen and ink, or black and white, right? It was all just black and white. And so then I went through a really difficult situation with the divorce, and I found myself in like tons of bills, right? Just having to, here I am as like a starving artist just trying to make it by, and then I've got attorney fees, and I've got, my son was born the day the divorce was finalized, and so I had attorney fees and daycare and child support and hospital bills and everything due all at the same time, right? So then I was in a business class, and the owners of what used to be the Gamers Inn in Lehigh, and then they moved to American Fork, and sadly just closed this last year. But the owners of that shop, they came up to me after that business class, and they had heard that I was an artist. And they're like, "Oh, can you do a paint night at our place? We've been looking for an artist to come and do a paint night because we want to have like more of the community come in to the shop, and we think that would be a great way to do it." And I was like, "You have no idea that I have never painted in my life." I didn't say that to them because I was like, this is a golden opportunity for me to make some money and hopefully pay child support and all the bills that I have. So what happened in my mind was, are you kidding me? That's totally not going to happen. And what came out was, sure, let's schedule it. And so we scheduled it for 2 weeks from then. And I went home and I was like, oh, crap. I've got to learn how to paint. So as soon as I got home, I Googled how to paint. And then I didn't even have painting supplies in my house. So I didn't even have the ability to practice until I got to my first class. And I said to myself, as long as you know a little bit more than the people who are coming to this class, you will make it. And so I watched a YouTube video, multiple times right before coming, and was like, okay, this is what we're doing. We'll see how it goes. And it worked out, and people enjoyed it, and our paintings turned out pretty good. And I was like, oh boy, like this is actually not as horrible as I thought it could be. And it was really fun. And then people were like, okay, when's the next one? And I was like, all right, let's schedule another one. And then I ended up painting or teaching paint nights there at that game shop every month for 6+ years. And yes, Jake. You know what? This is a production studio, so just come in on a day that's not maybe today, and then come and we can film it, and then you can share it with the world. You can share your story with the world. Oh, he's got stories though. Oh man, he's got stories. No, that's kind of it. So I'm gonna come and before I get carried away, just like that was the step. That was not me. Ooh, this is lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, now remember as we do these highlights that not every inch needs the highlights. These are looking really great. Everything that I'm seeing is just awesome. You guys are doing a fantastic job. And then just remember, I have to remind myself of this all the time, just to not overdo it. If you feel like you just keep applying paint and keep applying paint, just remember not to overdo it. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a good attention to detail and make it look the best you can. I'm digging this. I'm totally digging that like giant mountain. Yeah, that's so cool. These are looking awesome, you guys. Super good.
Can I have a note?
Just see how these are all like going the exact same angle, and they are like very straight lines and kind of in like a section and a section. Like this stuff is looking all like a lot more natural, And so you might want to just try connecting a part of this and then like making a part more like bumpy or wavy, and yeah. And if you do something like that, where you're pulling the highlight down here, you're creating the illusion that this peak is a little bit in front of the other one, and that can be really good. Yeah.
Did you put highlights like down here too?
You could, but it might be good to just like let it be the highlights on the top to really
Pop out the
to really pop out and stuff. So it might be better to just keep it there, but of course it's up to you, you know? It's up to you. Because you could technically like create another peak down here if you wanted to, or whatever, but we'll be doing other trees and different stuff down there, so.
Okay.
Awesome. Beautiful, I'm loving it, I'm loving it. Oh, this is looking great. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about your painting?
Really good.
Not great, what?
Really good, Chloe.
I think you're just being a little hard on yourself, honestly.
Very hard on
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll be right there. Yeah.
Very
How do you,
Hey.
so my whole goal
Hey,
was,
this is looking really good.
my whole goal was to have a drip because it's on the plastic currently, but it's not dripping. So I wanted to like have a
Okay.
cool like. So it wouldn't look like anything. I
Okay.
just wanted to like.
If you want it drippy, then you need to apply a lot of paint, and it needs to be, and then you put water on it. So if you want like a drip to come from down here, from up here at the
Yeah.
top, you would like do a blob here, like boop, like put it there, and then take a bunch of water, and then like tap it, and then it will eventually drip.
What happens if I spray it at the end? Could I spray it with a bunch of water and would it drip then?
No, because this paint, once it dries, it's permanent, so it won't reactivate.
Even on the plastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it'll scrape off, you know, but it won't reactivate. It won't become wet again. That is pretty amazing. Okay, when I thought that my brother had thought of it all, you know, because like at one of the last paint nights, he painted on the back of his canvas, and so it actually like ended up having a frame around it, which was really cool. But it didn't have the gesso, so a lot of the paint's soaked into the canvas. So he had to keep applying the paint over and over again and doing the steps over and over again. But and then he took the group picture with it facing the right way, and it was blank. And I was like, I didn't catch it until after we took the picture. But now he chose a canvas that didn't have the wrapper taken off of it, so he is painting on plastic. It's amazing. So Jake is a gem of a human. He is amazing. Okay. Hey Jake, would you be a pal and track down my brown bag? And I have a teal ball that's a magnetic charger for my phone. Oh, it's actually in the car. Can you run to the car? Sorry. Okay.
Am I on camera? Hello.
You're on candid camera. Okay. All right. How are we feeling about these mountains? I think you should all be feeling very, very good because they look excellent. You may be feeling iffy about certain parts of these mountains, but remember, we can't judge ourselves too harshly, especially where for some of you this may be, your first painting. Actually, I'm really curious. Is anybody here tonight that would consider themselves to be painting for the first time ever? Like really young, elementary, whatever. Like it doesn't, super count because you probably we're just doing like finger paints or whatever. But yeah, did you raise your hand? And then somebody else over here raise their hand? Becca, you're second. This is your second. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yep. And your first one was with me then? Yeah. Yes, that's right. Which was just very recent. You've never painted before? Are you for real? Oh my gosh. Okay. This is so cool. This is so cool. You're painting mountains, clouds. Like these are a lot of things that people get worked up about. They they think they're really tricky, and they can be. But when you have a little bit of guidance and the courage to try it, then you absolutely can do it. These are so good. Okay. We are going to move forward, and if if somebody can be kind of a helper with me and time are not always friends. So, you know, if somebody can let me know when we hit 8 o'clock, technically we were supposed to be like close to done then, but we're just going to move right along and do the best we can. If anybody has like babysitters or a situation where they need to leave sooner, I will try to get us through this painting as quickly as possible. But if you're able to message any babysitters, let them know we might be a little bit longer then. That's great. Now what we're going to do is there's this little waterfall that is like this little cascade thing. And, you know, I guess we could have planned it better because I'm not used to having like this waterfall in the mountains. So I kind of just like went for it with the mountains. But, you know, if you can find a place that makes sense for a waterfall, then definitely put that in there. And it really could be anything.
Is that white on your paintbrush?
Yeah, this is just going to be white. You know, technically we could do some other colors, but just to make it simple, I think we'll just do some pure white. And I'll maybe make it just coming down here. And then if you feel like you know where you want the waterfall to come out from, but then it's like, it looks like it's just randomly floating there, then you could add a little bit of shadow around it or something to kind of ground it. But basically what I'm going to do is a straight line down, although you could have it be kind of tiered where it like bumps and then goes over some rocks or something. But I'm going to keep it simple and then take a little bit of water and maybe smudge it out a little bit. And there could be like a little curve at the top where it's sort of coming from and it's falling off of a ledge. And this doesn't need to be super thick or super noticeable. It doesn't need to be a huge deal. It's kind of cool if it's a sort of hidden thing. Were you able to find that bag?
I can't find anything. I found a banana. It was good.
You didn't find a leather bag?
I looked in the whole car. Yeah. There's your
Okay.
canvases and the kid stuff, but I didn't see a leather.
I may have brought it in. So, if you, Davis, you haven't seen a brown bag around here, like a leather bag?
Well, first.
It may be by your jacket in the kitchen. If not, then it's not a huge deal. I just want you to make sure that you are able to paint and not worry about my lack of keeping track of things. What was that? It's a teal ball that splits in two, and it's a magnetic charger to keep my phone alive. So
Why don't you just
if you
use
can't
the-
find it,
why
it's
don't
not
you
a big
use the
deal,
painting as reference? Like, why are you using the-
we could.
It's up to you. You're the artist.
Would you bring that over too? Jake, would you bring that painting over too? Yeah. Thanks. Okay. All right, you guys. Now if we've done this, or now that we've done like this waterfall, maybe, you know, if you chose to do that waterfall, you can also add a little bit of smudgy, like watered down white at the base if you kind of want it to feel like it's splashing into something, but keep it subtle. You know, we don't need to be painting water droplets and things because it is way too far for us to be able to see any details like that. Then once we're done with that, we are going to take the chalk and start to sketch out the rest of our painting. Awesome.
Why are we drawing the waterfall?
Oh, because there's a waterfall here. So it's optional.
Okay. I can't. It's not in there.
That's okay.
And
That's okay. We'll use this because now
did you use my
at this
phone?
point it's really
My
close.
phone was that too.
No, we're good. We're good. Thanks so much. Oh, I guess somebody just was awesome and is passing around some snacks, I guess. So thanks to everyone who sharing. That's so nice. That is so nice. Okay. Oh, thank you. Awesome. Sorry for the crunching. I'm eating a cookie. So if anybody's hearing that over the video, I apologize. That's not very nice, but. Say what?
Oh, they're seeing it. But
Oh, they're saying it. Yep. Okay. Well,
the TV's
there you go.
playing in the live feed. That's just showing
Okay. Oh, so what I'm seeing is just the one feed?
Yeah, all you're seeing, those TVs are only displaying that camera. I'm swapping as well.
Oh, okay.
Why nothing changes.
Okay, okay.
I figured you guys only need to see that. You don't need to see what I'm swapping.
I see, I see, I see. Okay.
Sorry, I have control over that as well.
Awesome, awesome.
Sorry, in case you're wondering why I haven't been changing the channel ever.
That is exactly, yeah. I was like, oh, well, okay, all right.
No,
I mean, cool.
You guys want that one.
Cool. Oh, there's my cute wife. Shout out to Daniela, holding her delicious plate of, you know, half American food, half Chilean food. She's from Chile. I love her. Daniela, if you're watching, I love you. Okay. We are going to start drawing this. So let's get kind of our horizon line put back in case you've covered it up. Maybe you haven't, but I have. So I'm going to sort of put it back in there a little bit. And we are going to be putting some trees, very distant trees that are just sort of, check this out on this example. You've got some vertical lines here that are just, you know, the suggestion of trees.
Oh, I also can pull up the image if you like.
Oh, yeah, that works. That works awesome. Yeah, that works great too. Oh, we're just doing chalk right now, so we're just kind of outlining stuff. Is it? Awesome. So you see that we have like some distant distant trees that are just like vertical lines, really, because they're so far away that we're not really seeing branches or any kind of details. All right, so if you want, for this chalk outline, we don't necessarily need to be drawing each individual line, although you can do that. What I like to do is just sort of do some squiggly lines like this, just for the tops, just to figure out where, kind of the direction of where I want them to go and to be. And you can do highs and lows. They could be up on a big hill like this if you wanted to, and have them be up higher. But then as they get down towards the middle, I'm letting them be lower, especially since there's a cool waterfall right there. But your waterfall may be in a different place. And so, you know, whatever you do, just if you did a waterfall and you like the waterfall, don't cover it up with trees. If you hate it, cover it up with trees. Okay. That's the great thing about painting and using acrylic paints especially, is you can just cover it up with stuff. And you can turn a bird into a tree and whatever, right? Take a not so happy bird that you don't like and turn it into a happy tree. All right, so it's kind of hard for, you know, maybe it's hard to pick it up on the camera, maybe you can see it, but essentially just creating some lines for these distant trees to go, and then I will start to draw out the things that are closer. Yes? Shit, you know, who knows? Maybe it could last a long time. I don't know. All right, so I'm going to take the chalk and I'm going to create a hill here. I was sort of thinking that I might like to preserve this little peak because it was interesting to me, but not everyone's going to have that little peak. It really doesn't matter. I think I'm going to have to cover it up anyway, just because there are some trees that I want to put over here that are going to be a little bit taller. Remember, this is a scene that you can use general guidelines that I'm giving you, but you can definitely make it your own. And I'll try to explain anything that I'm doing, so if you want to copy it, you can, but remember, you don't have to. Now I'm going to start at about the halfway mark, halfway down from the top or from the bottom, just going vertically. I'm going to do the halfway mark, and I'm going to create like a little mound here. And it's going to reach out to a little bit past the halfway mark going left and right. So it's going to be about here. You see that, if I were to put a dot or create a line, let's say if we did a line in the middle, this is just hypothetical, you don't need to draw it out. But imagine crosshairs, we're just taking this hill and going a little bit the halfway mark, going left to right, right? But this hill in general is below the horizontal halfway mark. And now I'm going to take the bottom edge of this hill and swoop it down just a little bit. It's going to have like an angle because this is going to be a winding river. And so what I'm going to do is basically we want for this river to look narrow up towards the horizon line, and then get wider and wider as we come down the canvas closer to us, kind of closer to our view. We want to give the illusion of depth and dimension, and perspective. So this river is going to be very narrow up here, but then we're going to have this little mound for bushes and trees, a little bit of land here that's going to break up the river, and then another one here. So it's going to be like a windy river. And in fact, a lot of this river could be potentially chopped off on this left side. So you might end up only seeing a portion of the river and not necessarily the entire left edge of the river. Hopefully that makes sense, what I'm saying. I might just be kind of speaking gibberish, but now remember, you can take a little bit of water if you want to sort of clean up your chalk lines. Just smudge any of these chalk lines out with a little bit of water on a clean brush. And then you can raise up your little hills, or you can move them down or move them over. All right. So, okay, does anybody have any questions about kind of the outline of this? So the river is going to go this way. I'll show you with this example. It goes, left, then right, left, then right. Of course, you can move those hills around and change the look of your river if you want. You could add, you could remove one of the hills, or you could just change the shape of overall. But it's kind of how I'm doing that here. And then once we have that, we're going to start filling in some of these things with paint. And we're going to try to pick up the pace because I know that is getting late and we started late, and that was totally my fault. But we're going to cruise through this. And oh my gosh. I know. I should have a straw and spitballs or something, just nail him in the head. Okay, so what we're going to do is we all have teal, is that correct? Mm-hmm. Like a light teal and a darker teal, yeah. Kind of a dark greenish blue. Wonderful. And do all of you have dark blue as well, like a navy? Okay. Yeah, the phthalo blue is the one that we're talking about here. Okay, so what we're going to do here, there are lots of different ways that you can get to a very, to the same color. So really what I think we'll do though is I want to get some of that teal. Do I have some right here? Nope. Who's got the dark teal? I know that there were two. Let's do this, use this dark teal for, come on, you can do it. Let's use this dark teal for the trees in the back. All right, so what I'm going to do is rinse some of this dark blue out that I had. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this dark bluish green, this dark turquoise color, okay, this dark turquoise color, and I'm going to mix in a little bit of, let me show you here, a little bit of gray into this to tone it down, okay, and a little bit of the lighter blue, the sky blue. All right, so then we get a color that's sort of a turquoisey color, and it's a little bit dulled down, not so vibrant because it has some of that gray in it. And then, all right, this is the color that I'm getting. If you get something similar to that, it's great. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. The idea here is that these trees in the distance are, you know, they have a little bit of green to them, but they also feel blue because of the atmosphere. I'm going to actually add a little bit of white to it as well, because I think these are going to end up looking too dark. And we want to push these back in the distance. And remember, if you want something to look like it's far away, you make it more pale and more blue.
So are you using the navy blue?
I'm using the lighter blue, but honestly, if you use the dark blue, if you get to a similar color, like, you know, I think that this sky blue that I gave you is very close to what this dark blue would look like if you just added white. You know what I mean? So, okay, so what I'm going to do now is with not too much paint on my brush, I'm going to rub it off on the plate like this. So then I just have a little bit of paint in the bristles, and I don't have any blobs. It might even be helpful to thin it out with a little bit of water and mix that in. But essentially, we're going to just create this little illusion of distant trees. And they're going to be just vertical lines. And we're just going to throw these in there. We don't have to be super particular about them, and they don't need to be super crisp. Because if they're crisp, that implies detail. So if they're actually a little bit smudgy and imperfect, and they are like kind of blend together, you know, not super clear, then they actually can look a little bit more real and more like they're in the distance.
Just really lightly.
And so I had to darken mine up, and make sure you have highs and lows with these, right? You don't want them all to be just in a perfectly straight line as if they were planted there perfectly and like they were planted on a flat surface. We want them to look like, you know, they're growing naturally on maybe some rolling hills or something. And remember, we've got this horizon line thing going on, right? I'm going to paint with these vertical strokes all the way down to that horizon line. And remember, these do not have to be filled in completely. We don't necessarily need to fill these in completely. In fact, it's better if we don't, because then we'll have more texture showing, and it doesn't have to be solid. If it's solid, then it looks flat. And we want to avoid just like flat colors. We want dimension and variety. So now it looks a little bit splotchy to me, but that's fine because I'm trying to avoid like super crisp lines. But if you would like to, you can fill it in a little bit by watering down the color, and then you'll get smoother strokes. So if you do want some more controlled strokes, lined edges and whatnot, then just water down the paint a little bit, and the paint will come off the brush a lot easier. What I want to do personally, you can do this if you'd like, I'm going to have this hill be blocking some of those distant trees and have some trees on the top of this hill that look a little bit more detailed, that have a little bit more dimension to them, and they're bigger. So it will look like they're standing on top of this hill instead of way in the distance in front of the mountains there. Now, if you feel like your color is way too vibrant still, it's super turquoise and whatnot, you can take some gray and tone it down, or put some gray in between, like these little strokes and stuff. Kind of blending them together so you don't have really stark gray strokes, but sometimes we forget to kind of tone down our colors, and they end up being super vibrant. And if we tone them down, they look a bit more natural and earthy and stuff. So I'm just trying to...
So you're filling it all in the bottom part, right?
Yeah, just all the way down to the horizon line. And then we'll have kind of this messy horizon line that we can clean up in just a moment. All right, so I feel... Remember to break up your tree so you have tall ones and short ones and all that. I feel like I almost made that area too much the same, but it's okay. And I feel like I have like perfectly cleared the trees of the waterfall to be like, trees have to avoid the waterfall, but I feel like I made it too forced, so I might have to make an adjustment to that, but it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. We'll just kind of go with it, see what we get, and then after we have a big picture of everything we're doing, we can make changes and adjustments to things. We just don't want to worry too much about tons of detail. All right, so actually I just rinsed my cup, but I don't think we needed to. What I want to do here is let's keep the same teal color, and let's just mix the same kind of turquoisey color that we were just using, and let's just add some of the dark blue to it. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little blob of dark phthalo blue, and so it will we still want it to feel a little bit on the green side, on the turquoisey side, but we're going to start to do the hills with this bluish color. And while we are filling that in, I'm going to have you guys pass around this green color. And I will have you pass around this yellow. And while you're passing around those colors, the grass green color, yellow, we don't need them right now, So while you're getting that passed around, we're going to fill in these hills, these sections of land with this bluish turquoisey color. And I'm going to mix a little bit of water into the color if you need to. If it's like not coming off the brush really well, it'll spread, nicer if you have a little bit of water in there. And I'm just going to, this is just a base for the hill. So it's going to look really messy and weird, and you're going to be like, why is it blue, and what the heck is going on? But what I'm going to do here is just give this a base for the shadows. Okay, so this dark color is going to help us serve as shadows for our painting. And then as you go further down the canvas, I invite you, as you go from each hill, like from one hill to another, add a little bit of dark blue to your paint mixture, so that each hill that gets closer to us progressively gets a bit darker. Does that make sense? I don't know if I worded that super well, but essentially, you just want for the hill to get progressively a bit darker. You may need to add a little bit of dark blue and maybe some gray to kind of make it look a little bit more, a little bit darker. And then if you'd like, you can definitely keep your painting going consistently around the edges, to the sides and top of your canvas to match what you're doing on the front. That can be a nice way to just make the canvas edges look clean and finished. Oh yes, of course. Always time for Bigfoot. Jake wants to put Bigfoot in the painting. I still think there should be aliens and a pyramid somewhere. Oh, I don't know why my nose is so itchy. Okay, where is that dark blue? Okay. Okay, oh, I made a mess. But that's the joy of painting. I feel like Bob Ross was always very neat and tidy with all of his paints, and I'm like, paint all over, But of course, we're not dealing with the toxins of oil paint. Well, not so much of oil paint itself, but the turpentine and all of that kind of stuff, or cadmiums and whatnot. So acrylics are a lot more friendly in terms of that kind of stuff. All right, so now it doesn't have to be a huge difference between the hills. It doesn't have to be like a super noticeable difference, but we do want for each hill to be slightly darker. So if you need to, you can go through and with a little bit of white and gray or white and light blue or something, you can lighten it up after the fact if you feel like you went too dark with the first one. Right, so that's what I'm doing now is I'm just adding a little bit of white with gray and blue to lighten up that one hill so it looks like it's on a different plane or a different level as this one down here. And then see if we can get some turquoise out of here. Now, now that you have red and yellow, and you have the green as well, but if you take some red and yellow and you mix that into your color a little bit, then you can start to get something that's kind of a darker, more brownish, blackish color. Now we don't need to go straight like with pure black or anything like that, but notice how I've gone pretty dark, not just because of the dark blue, but actually because I mixed a little bit of red into it. And then if you mix some yellow, even though it appears to be like a happy cheery color, right? When you mix it into there, then you get red, blue, and yellow primary colors mixing together, which will give you like a dark grayish brown, you know what I mean? So, and it just depends on how much of each color you mix, but you may get something that's more brown, a little bit more purpley, whatever. But in fact, does everyone have the yellow?
Yes.
Okay, and the green, where did that end up? Did you all get green?
No.
There was a tube of, do you guys know where the dark green ended up? Oh, can you get that dark green passed around, please? Yes, I think we do have them here. Trying to remember which thing it was in. Okay, now, even though I haven't filled in that one on the bottom, just go ahead and fill that in with a color that's very similar to what you used before for the second hill. But for that third hill, just make it a little bit darker, right, by mixing a little bit of that red and yellow in. No comment. Okay. Well, I guess the spray bottle ended up here, huh? Hey, Jake, would you mind just passing out a spray bottle to each table? Sure. Thank you. So we're going to get some spray bottles to you. If you'll just pass them down and just kind of give a little spritz to your palette plate, it will help that paint stay alive a little bit longer.
Oh, this one? Yeah. Okay.
We don't have enough for per person, and some of them are like kind of weird. Some of them will give you a mist, and some will be like super soaker launchers. So just be careful because they might, be weird like that. So we're going to be revamping pretty soon. We're going to be revamping our brushes, our spray bottles, a bunch of awesome stuff. We're going to be getting new stuff. I have taught almost probably more than 300 paint nights by now. I haven't counted in a while, but I've taught about 300 paint nights, and every once in a while these supplies need to be switched out. And now is one of those times. Hey, you got a missed one. I thought that was going to be a super soaker. All right. So this hill down here is the darkest one, right? And we're just going to fill it in quickly with this smudgy, blobby strokes. No need to be, perfectionistic about any of this. And then you'll want to squint your eyes and kind of look at it from a distance to see what shape you're dealing with in terms of the river. Because we've been thinking a lot about these hills. we haven't really been thinking much about the river. So think about the direction that the river flows. I'm seeing that for me, the river doesn't really have that taper effect, which is okay because maybe, you know, if we were to see the image off of the canvas, it would be very wide over here, you know, on my left side. But I do think I want to give it some sort of taper, so I'm going to go back in on the second one and just like close this off a little bit with some bushy, blobby goodness. And you see how that kind of adjusts the shape of my of the river a little bit. So just think about how you want that to look. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be just like mine, it doesn't have to be just like anybody's. Just sort of make it your own. But remember to embrace the blob. The blobbiness is what's really good for texture and interest, making something look really interesting and dynamic as well as organic looking. And not all of your hills have to have just a kind of a flat edge. They can have little parts that stick out or whatnot. Okay, so how are we feeling about that? I'm feeling like we could sort of clean up this horizon line a little bit. But, oh, 820, thank you. Let's bring, we can kind of clean up this horizon line, but check this out. What we could do also, if we wanted to, we can do a little bit of a whatchamacallit, a little reflection. And we can do that in a minute. I'll show you how to do that. But for now, we've got the base. We have actually made it pretty far. We've just got some, you know, we've got the details on top to go. So I am going to try to pick up the pace a little bit, and so I'm sorry if that's kind of rushing you guys, but we need to wrap it up. And so I will give you the next steps, and if I'm going way too fast, then please just like tell me, Caleb, holy cow, slow down. But essentially, once we've got those 3 hills in, I'm going to take some of this lighter teal color, and I'm going to create this kind of illusion of this, like, I don't know, we don't want it to be perfectly blue water. We also don't want it to be looking like murky green water. So we're going to try to get this to be this beautiful teal color. Now you can use a bit of the dark turquoisey color and sort of weave it or interchange with the lighter teal and stuff, but essentially I would say we want to do most of this with the lighter teal to start off, so we don't have like a really dark, murky looking river. I'm going to start off with this teal color mixed with a little bit of white, and I'm going to go left to right. I'm going to water it down as well, because otherwise it's not coming off the brush very well. So just add a little bit of water to the mixture. This is what I've got here up top, right where my brush is this like kind of pale version of this turquoise. And if you want to tone it down so it's not so like bright and almost neon, you can add a touch of gray to tone it down. But essentially I'm going to go left to right, and we don't want it to all look even. So let some of the color that is in our background blue, right? Because that's our sky blue that's showing up there in the river right now. Let some of that show through. Don't feel like you have to cover it up completely with solid teal. But we're just going to add some like strokes, sort of weaving in this teal here and there. We don't want tiger stripes, and we don't want like perfect stripes that are just evenly spread apart. But as you get down further, especially, you can add maybe a little bit of a wiggle to some of these lines, but we don't necessarily want turbulent waves, implying that, you know, there's a windstorm or something. It's not like the coast with the beach and stuff where you might see waves. You kind of want it to be a peaceful river is what I picture it to be. But if it is a river and not a lake, then it might be moving. So it really is up to you. You could add some waviness to it. Now I have a few marks down here that I didn't mean to put on there that are like this dark blue, so I'm just going to cover those up. Now, the idea here is it can have a few different things going on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this dark blue and I'm going to load this brush in a strange way where I don't know exactly what strokes I'm going to get. But the idea is I'm going to dip it in some of the dark blue. I'm going to dip maybe another part of it in the light blue. I'm going to get some teal on there and some white. And now I've got just like a brush that's full of everything. And while that is very messy and probably not the best approach to keeping your brush looking nice and clean and all that, it's kind of fun because you can get some strokes going that you don't, where you don't know exactly what you're going to get. But you're going to move it across, and if you're getting too much dark strokes, like right now I'm getting a lot of dark, I can go back and just load it again with a little bit of teal and white maybe to compensate for the really dark blue that was showing up a lot. And we don't want to fill the area with all of these strokes and then just blend it out so much that it becomes one color. What we want is for this interesting variety of colors, we want it to stay visible, right? So make the stroke and kind of commit to it. Unless you really hate it, then just be like, okay, I'm going to try that again. I'm going to cover it. But you can get a little bit of a sense of movement as you add a variety of colors, and it's going to look really, really pretty cool. And again, like I have to not touch it because I'm almost blending it too much already, just like that. So, and then take a glance at it from a distance. It really helps to stand up. You may just like kind of sit back and squint your eyes, but I kid you not, if you look at it from like a couple feet away, you'll be able to really see what you're working with. So I'm going to do that myself. I'm going to be the example, even though I'm very comfy here. And I am going to take and evaluate my painting, see, what I like, what I don't like, and then we'll go from there. So I encourage you all to stretch your legs, take a minute to look at it from a distance, and see if you've got things going on in your painting that you're enjoying, things that you may want to fix. For me, I like to paint the sides of the sides of the canvas to match what I'm doing on the front. So I noticed that I didn't do that on this right side, so I'm going to do that. So if you want to do that, you can. If you want to, and you haven't really been painting the sides of your canvas and they're just sort of blobby and messy, you could at the end just paint them one solid color at the end and have it all be nice and clean rather than having splotchy blobbiness on the sides. It's whatever you want. Now I'm noticing that my water is very blue. I'm thinking that it could be even more on the green side, so I'm going to take some teal. I know most of us got some green on our plate. If you want to incorporate green, you can, but it's might be a little strong. But I can add a little bit of yellow into this teal, and maybe just here and there add a bit of a greenish tone. Since there's going to be a lot of green surrounding it, you can add a bit of a green vibe to the water. Okay. And then you can go ahead and clean up that horizon line if you want back there. And then I'm going to let it be and just force myself to put down the brush and just let it be. So once you get to a point where you're like, okay, I could live with this, then let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be. So,
I like your trees better. What can I do to fix my trees so and I'll wait out your water on
oh, they look really good though. I think just with the trees, just making sure that you've got,
It's almost squigglies that way.
well, I think I'm just filling in down here, because
Yeah,
you know,
make land.
you know, you could do like even a little section of land back there, or whatever you want, just to kind of ground them and make them feel a little bit more full down below. So, yeah, you're welcome. Awesome. I just want to see how these are going. If you guys have any, oh my gosh, I love it, love it, love it, love it. Ooh, I'm digging the waterfall. Oh, I'm digging that waterfall. Let's see. You got a waterfall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like my river.
I would
or my
do.
mountains.
Oh, that's okay.
Or my
So
creek.
what I would do is, no, I think you're doing great. What I would do is, for the waterfall, water is, once it comes with the waterfall, it's typically not going to look blue, right?
No, I made that on purpose, so it matches the water.
I mean, you can. Yeah, but typically, like when water comes down a waterfall, it's going to look white.
Oh, well, this
But
water's
you could
polluted.
totally do it. Let's no worries. I'm not like the painting police here. So,
No.
and then also
I painted
the-
before. I hope you know that.
okay. So with the river, I think you'll like the river even more as you do horizontal strokes, where all of them are horizontal. Most of these are horizontal, but you want to make sure you have some horizontal strokes, and that will keep the river looking like water, and it will keep it looking like gentle and still. Even if you want a little bit of movement, that's really great. Just try to get those horizontal strokes in there. And I think you'll like the water actually more than you do now. Yeah, just like that. And you'll actually like your water more than you do now after you get your trees in the foreground, which is what we're going to do next. This is beautiful. You're all doing such a great job. They're looking so good. Okay, now we do need to move forward, so I'm sorry if I haven't been able to get to everyone with feedback, but what we're going to do is I'm going to steal this green. We're going to use this kind of grass green color. And just remember, we've got yellow and red, which are actually going to be important to creating different varieties of green. I could just pass out a bunch of different green colors to you, but this is a great way to learn. In fact, I will pass out, I think, one other green to you. If you'll get that passed around, that would be awesome. It's that lime green. But we won't need that until the end. So I know we are...
She needs some paper towels.
Oh, got a spill? No worries. Got the... no. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to, real fast, create some little reflections. Now, we're going to go back to this kind of bluish turquoisey color. The same color that you have for your trees in the background here, like way in the background, those little lines, way in the distance. We are going to just put a little bit of that color or something similar to it. It does not have to be the same, but you can just do like a little bit of blue and turquoise. Try to get a similar color without being overly perfectionistic about the exact color. But the idea is that we want to drag some of this color into the water. To be a reflection. It's like a mirror image, sort of, right? So do you see where I'm going with that? Now, it does not have to be as detailed. It can actually be very smudgy because it's really, since this is like a river and it's not like water that's all perfectly glassy and delightfully clean and clear, this is a river. So it does not have to be totally a mirror image. Basically, we want just a sort of illusion to yeah, like tree reflections, right? Reflections in the water. And I'm going to smudge that out with a little bit of water. That'll help it blend. So, and now we've got a little bit of a suggestion of a reflection. Okay, it doesn't need to be perfect. And we're going to do that to the same. We're going to do that same kind of thing down here to the bottom of this hill here, and maybe this one, whichever one is really showing significantly. If you feel like you have space for it, then take this and just add a little shadow down here. Okay, so we're just taking like a similar color, and we're going to create this illusion of like a reflection. And it's going to be kind of the opposite, right? So the idea is picture it as if, let's look on the screen. So let's say you have this here, and you're just going to flip it in your mind like that. Let's do this. You're going to flip it like that. So if you know, it's taller up here and it does this little thing, then you're going to go down this way with your reflection. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. What was that? Oh, I thought you said something, Davis.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yep, mirroring it.
Oh, yep, mirroring it, yes.
Making it look really easy.
Yep. Well, you know, it can be tricky, but basically what this is going to do, like we're gonna try to. We can use also. I'm sorry, I should have said this. You can keep these strokes since they're really far in the water, like really close to us. They're in the water. Like you can keep those strokes more horizontal if you don't want the river to look too crisscross with a bunch of different lines and whatnot, because we're not having tall trees down here. So I'm just going to smudge it out and avoid any, you know, major detail. Okay, so I'm going to come around because I know that step was tricky and kind of vague.
Mine was
So
too green, huh?
yeah, so what you could do is just mix a bit of worry about too much like about that shadow. It's just a little, you know, little detail, and you can kind of smudge it with your finger. So, all right. So what we're going to do to finish this guy up is we're going to start to add the foliage, then we'll do the little pine tree, and basically be done. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is take this grass green color. Oh, it was right here.
That's that color, isn't it? Oh, wait,
Yeah, you did get that one. That kind of dark green. There was like a lime green that should have gotten passed around. Oh,
oh, I didn't get a lime green.
who's got the lime green? Did you get a picture of the three of you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
Well, she did.
awesome. Okay, you gotta go. That's fine. That's fine. Oh, they look so good. You did such a great job. Such a great job. My goodness.
Your mountains look really good too.
Would you be willing to send me that picture? I guess you got it on
Of
your
course I
phone.
would.
Not-
I'd be
so
thrilled to.
that would be awesome.
Yeah,
That
in
would be
fact,
wonderful.
When I see you guys, I think I have your. You
send?
Yeah,
The
yeah, you
email
can
with
just,
the
yep.
link, right? Can I just send it right
Yep.
back to you? Okay. You got
Thank
it.
you.
We'll come again.
Oh, you did such a great job. Thank you so much for coming.
All right, I'm gonna leave this.
How do you feel? Was it like a first time? Like if you, yeah?
I've never painted before.
Oh my gosh.
You're not gonna.
So you should be very proud of yourselves. Holy cow. That's so cool. Oh, you're so welcome. Can I see your painting, please? It looks great. What are you talking about? It looks great. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. It's awesome. So you did really great. All right, now we've got the sap green, or not the sap green, the grass green color, and then we should have the lime green going around. So, Jake, if you wouldn't mind just getting that lime green on your plate if you haven't already, and then pass it down to the other table. That would be awesome. Now, the secret to making a good grass green color, or like a natural kind of green for bushes and foliage, is actually adding some orange to it. And that helps it to be a little bit more earthy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this dark green. I'm going to add a bit of yellow. And I'm going to add a tiny, 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 and I mean tiny, touch of red. Okay? And by doing that, to the dark green right now. Yep. The light green will be later. But we are creating a color that is brighter because of the yellow, but a little bit more earthy because of the red, because red and green are opposite colors. So as you add a little bit more of a color's opposite, it will end up looking a little bit more brown. Or it can even go more neutral, like a gray, depending on how you mix them all and stuff. But we're going to get a variety of greens going on, okay? So the principle here, I'll just give you a principle, and then you can mix colors the way that you want to mix them, if you want them brighter or more lime or more earthy and more like an army green. If you add the red and yellow together into the green, you'll get something that's a little bit more like an army green. Right? If you add just like more yellow, then you'll get something that's closer to lime.
And then we're just going to blotch all over the ground.
And so, yeah, so what you want to do here is like, you'll want to, I'm going to start here with this, maybe I'll start actually in the front, just because I've got this color here that is kind of dark to start off with. And I want to keep it, I'm actually just doing these little blobs like this, right? I've actually taken my brush with an overhand grip, and you can totally do this if you want, or you can keep your traditional grip or whatever. But I'm just dabbing it with these big, broad strokes, while still letting some of the shadow color shine through so that we don't lose the dimension of like that shadow, that dark color. Okay? And then we'll add a variety of greens, but first we're just going to start dark and then go lighter and lighter. So I'm going to put this green on this blue background now, on this second hill, just with some splotchy, blobby goodness, a bunch of little dots and dabs, while still letting some of that blue color show through, because that's our shadow color. Okay. And then going back here, and here I'm going to put this this bushy kind of grassy color in, while again still preserving some of that blue color, but not too much, because that is pretty blue. So I'll kind of blend that out. But then as you get up close, you want to see very like distinct bushy blobs. Okay, so here is what I've got going on. Embrace the blob, because it really does the work for you. So as you add just blobby textury goodness, it's really fun, and it can look really good. Now I'm going to add even more yellow to this to kind of brighten it up for the next phase. And who's got that lime green? Did you guys get that passed around? Oh, just behind you guys, there is that lime green. Okay, and then now I'm going to, I went from this front hill, and then I did the second one, and then I did the third one, right? The one that's farthest away from us. I'm going to do the opposite. Now, while this is still kind of wet, I'm going to kind of blend this in a bit. You know, the colors are going to blend in a little bit, but that's good because this is farther away, so we don't have as much detail. So I'm going to put this lighter green on top here, and just put a little bit there on that hill, and then I'll put a little bit on this hill. But I'm going to keep this color, this brighter kind of looking more towards lime color. This brighter color has more yellow in it. I'm going to put it more towards the top of the hill and not so much on the bottom of the hill.
Where's the yellow?
The yellow, all right there. And remember, you can have some bushes that are like really stick out, and then others that are just kind of sitting there. So there's that, you know. And if it's looking too lime or too vibrant, you can throw in a little bit more of the red. You can also tone it down with gray or with the tan color that we got at the beginning but never ended up really using. Remember that there's a variety of greens everywhere, and so the wider variety of different tones and colors and versions of green that you can add to it, the better. So for now, like I just added some some tan to that lighter green that I had, and look, I'm getting, you know, something that's very, very different that gives me like a bush that looks like a different plant than the rest. And this makes it so there's variety, so we don't look like everything is just the same, but we have a variety of different plants. And then I'm going to do the same thing down to this, on this first hill that's closest to us down here. You know, add a variety of different greens, load your brush with different greens every time you go to make a mark or a few marks. Load your brush differently so then you get a big variety. Oh. Oh no, it's probably just because the legs on the easels, sometimes they'll do that. So if you'll just make sure that that's stretched out all the way and then tightened, the little knob, then yeah, then it should be good. Well, with all this like dabbing and stuff, it's kind of shaking it up, huh? Okay, so remember, a variety of greens is the best way to go. And preserve your shadows, meaning don't cover them all up, right? Let some of your shadows show, and typically you're going to see the tops of the plants with highlights and the bottom of the hills and bottom of these bushes with the shadows. If you feel like you've covered up too much with highlights or with brighter things and you want your shadows back, then you just mix a shadowy color, like with the green and bluish, you know? And then you can actually put shadows back in by just tapping over the top of some of your highlighted areas and putting shadows back in, which can be the secret to dimension and really making it look like it's popping. So definitely don't forget to add some shadow back in as needed. And okay. Now I'm feeling pretty good about this so far, and I am going to probably just call it good for those bushes, and I'll teach you how to do a nice pine tree, and then we'll do some flowers and be done. The yellow, last I saw, I think it was over at this table. Do you guys have the yellow over here?
Yes, that's right in front of you. There you go.
Okay, Now, pine trees are, the secret to them is just that you want to make sure that you keep the cone shape. Because the cone shape is really like everything. If you lose the cone shape, then the tree can end up looking wonky. But, okay, I'm going to have you all take just a bit of this brown color. Just take a dime size or so, you know, just a little pea size of it. You don't need a whole lot of it. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to take the chalk and we're going to create a line down, just vertical down to be the sort of the center of our trunk. And I'm going to put it about a third of the way over from the right side. I don't know if you've heard of the rule of thirds, but it's not actually a set in stone rule, but it is kind of a guideline or a principle that, you know, can make for a nice composition. But essentially, you know, we've got our mountains here at roughly a third of the way down and a third of the way over. And so we're going to bring in type thing. And so I drew the trunk here like that. And then you can bring it down even further into the hill so that it doesn't look like it's floating, but that it's planted down there. And you can make it taller than the mountain or shorter than the mountain, whatever you want. Just remember it's close to us, so it is going to appear, you know, fairly big. And then I will widen out the trunk at the base. As it goes down, it gets slightly wider. So we want for a very, very skinny, basically we want like a skinny triangle, right? That is wider at the base down here and then goes up to a point. And all of you got that brown color? Is that correct? Did you guys get a brown?
Yeah, tan, yeah.
But we have a dark brown getting passed around, I guess. So, oh, awesome. Perfect. Now, what you're going to do with that dark brown, do you guys still have some dark blue?
Yes.
Okay. If you need it, I know that I see the dark blue right here. We can get that passed around if needed. But you're going to, if you want to get something very close to black, you're going to mix this brown color with blue, and you will get like jet black. But in nature, we don't typically have jet black, so we don't want it to be, you know, super, super black. But if you're needing a darker color, just know that that's how you do it. And essentially, we are going to use the brown that we got passed out to you guys. I'm just going to mix it brown here, just to make it a little bit clearer.
So where are we mixing? I'm sorry.
Blue and red.
Sorry, I'm being a little bit all over the place. So basically, the idea is we're going to take the brown,
Which brush are you using?
and I would say the smallest one that you got, small flat brush, and I'm going to just do a stroke down with the brown. Now this brown is going to be unmixed first. First of all, you're just going to paint it with the brown just like it came out of the tube or the bottle. And you're going to make it very thin on the top by using very little pressure. And you may need to mix a little bit of water into your paint mixture to get that paint to come off of the brush in a clean.
Do you have white on there? Oh, that's the chalk.
And then you're going to bring down this trunk and then let it be thicker as it goes.
Gosh, how do you do that so straight?
It does not have to be totally straight, you know.
My arm length's
Plenty of pine trees are wobbly and wiggly and slanted, and so definitely don't worry about it getting it too straight. And maybe it looks straight from far away, but if you look up super close, it is fairly, you know, it has some wobble to it.
getting that piece of
Now we're going to take some of the dark blue. The dark blue mixed with let's mix the dark blue with the dark green, so we get a very deep color. You know, the turquoise work for it, but I feel like it might be just too green, and it might not be dark enough. So let's just mix some of the dark phthalo blue with some of the dark grass green color that I gave you, until we get something that's very dark but not jet black, right? It's still going to have some green to it. And then let's add, you know, a little touch of brown to it. Okay, so we're just going to do some green, some brown and blue. Whatever you get, it might be a little different than mine, but that's fine. We just need a dark color. That's really all we need. And here is the thing about pine trees. So notice here in this example that we've got it starting with a point at the top. So we're going to leave a little spire at the top. Okay, and so I'm just going to do like a little line here at the top and just let that be the spire. And I'm going to leave that alone. And I'm not going to do branches on top of that little spire, because this tree has to remain as a cone shape or a triangle shape, where the bottom is wider and it tapers as it goes up. And then I'm going to go back and forth without a huge blob on the brush. I'm going to go back and forth. Let's get really close if we can. Here we go. Yep. And I'm going to start to do some branches on either side. Just kind of go on one side, do some branches, and then come to the other side, do some branches. But we don't want for it to be a mirror image, you know. We don't want for the left side to be exactly the same as the right. And so what you're going to do is, I'm actually going to switch brushes because I haven't been using the smaller one. But I'm going to take this end. You can get littler details with just the corner of your brush. If you use the corner of your brush, notice that you have, you know, the small flat brush. Oh, that's not focusing. Maybe you have the flat edge, but if you just use one side of it, like just this like little corner, then you can get finer little dots and lines and details and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let some of these branches be sparse, you know, so they're not like all just a huge full tree. And I'm going to add these little marks that give me the illusion of like pine branches. But remember, as you go, it may even be helpful to draw with chalk. Draw like like some cone or triangle lines, and say that's the container. You know, like you don't want to go outside of that container, because that way you'll know that you have a tree that's a triangle. Very often, I'll just do this on the back of my canvas. Very often, people will paint a tree like this, and then they'll start really heavy on the top, and then they'll end up with something kind of like this right here, and they'll start with wide branches too, and then they're like, oh great, okay, and then they just end up with a tree that just looks like a rectangle. Or they'll go really wide and really full with their trees and really close together, so then it just looks like a massive blob. So try to, you know, you don't want it to be so sparse that it looks like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree, but you can also give some space between some of those branches, you know. And so keep this color dark. This should be like the dark blue and the dark green mixed together. And as I get farther down the tree, I'm also going to let those branches be thicker and closer together. So it will get more full as it goes down. And you can mix a little bit of brown into this color too as well. That's redundant. And you can let some of this tree trunk show through, you know, in some places. I hear a sigh. I know that this is a long process, and I'm not always the best at keeping it to the 2 hours that it should be, you know. Well, and I'm not even saying that that was what your sigh was saying, but it did make me think like, oh yeah, this can be kind of tiring sometimes, even when you're or stressful, yeah. Even when you're just sitting here and you know, just painting away, it takes a lot of brain power, I find. So for me, I get a little tired, but we are just about at the end of this. Of course, that's probably what I've been saying for like the last hour, but you know, you guys are just doing a fantastic job. Now, for the bottom, I'm just going to add some shadows, like little dots and stuff, so that we don't have a floating trunk. You know what I mean? And it can just be like, just can be some little texture-y stuff right there. Okay, so that's how our tree, that's how my tree turned out, and I think it's looking pretty good. You know, it's not perfect, but we're not going for perfect. So, and perfect is not going to happen. So we're just dealing with, you know, what we got, and I think it'll be good. I think it will work. So if you're finding that the trunk needs any help or something, you know, with a little bit of trunk that's showing, you can make adjustments to that. And now we have a good shadow for our tree. And go ahead and use this color to add back in to any part of your plants any shadow that may be needed. If you covered up too much of your painting with highlights or whatnot, you can add shadow and dimension back in by using this same color. And
How do you make your trunk have the little shadowy things on it?
the little shadowy things on it. Are you talking about online, on the picture online?
Yeah.
Let me see what we've got.
In here and there.
Yeah, you know, if you wanted to, you could. Well, actually, I'll show you that in just a second here. So with this shadowy color, make sure you have a little bit of shadow on the bottom of each hill, okay, so that it kind of grounds that hill and makes it feel like it's got some dimension. So you'll look at, you know, kind of the bottom of this hill, and it has a little bit of that dark shadow underneath it. And right here, too, it's got a little bit of dark. Not a crisp line, but just that blobby goodness. Oh, my gosh. Okay, and then okay, I'm being too nitpicky with stuff. Now what we're going to do is, while this dark tree part is drying, I'm going to take some pure white paint on a clean brush, and I'm just going to pick up the paint, and it can be a little bit blobby, but essentially what I want to do is just create this like little. You know how when water kind of pushes up against a ledge or something, sometimes it can be a little bit white, like sea foam or even just a highlight. I'm going to let some of these edges of each hill be kind of highlighted with a little bit of this white color. And now if the pure white is too harsh, if you're feeling like, oh, that's looking weird, then you can do just like mix a little bit of blue or teal into it, and that will soften it up. And you can even add a little bit of these marks like to the inside of the water if you want. Just like very thin and subtle. And don't add a ton of paint, so it's not like super thick and way overwhelming. but just there, just subtle. You can even add some to the back, as long as it's very pale and not super noticeable. You can add some to the back to like the horizon line and stuff. Okay, so you notice that it's not like super thick and not overly distracting, but it's there. Cool. Okay. All right. Now we're going to come back to the tree. Now that we have our shadow color, we have like the base of our trunk. We just need to take some of that tan. Okay. We're going to take some tan, mix that into, or mix some brown into the tan. So we're going to have like a color kind of in between the dark brown and the light tan. But we can mix a touch of red and a touch of yellow into that. Okay, probably twice as much yellow because it's not as strong as the red. But we're going to create a brown for this trunk that's lighter, like a little bit lighter than what we put down before. But it needs the red and yellow to kind of warm it up so that it's not just looking gray. So here's what I got. Do you see this? It's just like a chocolatey brown, like a Hershey's chocolate bar kind of thing. But it is lighter than the original color that you put down for your tree trunk. And with that, we're just going to put some strokes over like this, oops, where you don't want them to be super thick, but you can add a little bit of texture. I like to hold it to the side, the brush, where it's totally to the side like this rather than pointed towards the canvas. I like to hold it like that and then just drag it down a little bit and very softly with very light pressure, and then you can get some broken up strokes that give you a little bit of a natural wood grain. If that's tricky and it's not turning out, like, don't worry. You know, it just is to have a little bit of a variety. And I'm going all the way down. But you can skip some parts if you want to keep like some of that trunk hidden. And then I'm going to go over this, the tree branches. It's 9:06. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's taking so long. Now I'm going to take one of these lighter greens, like the lime green that I made before. You can even take the really bright lime green if you want, but just make sure you tone it down with a little bit of like a little yellow and red to make it a little bit softer and not so like neon. Okay, so I got this army green kind of color. It's almost like a pea green color. And with this, I'm going to go over some of these branches. I'm going to go over these, like the tops of these branches with the highlight. And I'm going to just touch the top of each of these sections. And I'll show you what I'm getting. And I can even walk around with this if you're like, I can't really see what's going on. But essentially you want to leave the bottom part of each branch in shadow. Ooh, that was very thick. and you want to have the tops be with the highlight. And some of these branches will cross over your trunk, and some of them will stay with the trunk in front. That way you have, you know, three-dimensional kind of things going on. Okay, so I'm going to just walk around so you guys can see. No, you're fine, no worries, no worries. You see kind of what I'm going for there? you see here that, you know, where you have like the lighter highlights on top, and you have like the dark shadow showing through. So. I feel like my tree is kind of blending in a little too much with the background, but you know, we're just gonna deal with it. Just gonna call it good. Now, where did that yellow end up?
To your left.
Well, I've got this one, but there was another yellow bottle that was going around, a different color, but that's okay. Now, if you want your highlights to be really bright, you can add more yellow and even add a touch of white, and then you'll get them to be very bright. So that's an option if you feel like you want some really like nice bright highlights. But it's up to you. So I'll maybe add even like touches of some really bright green, almost yellowy sort of vibes. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to take some of this very light highlight color and make a bush or two. And make like a bush or two, you know, in one of these, you know, in some of these hills, just so I've got a variety of different plants going on, you know. And now is a good time to start to think about the flowers. So I am just doing like adding a little bit of a variation of different greens, you know. So if you're able to just kind of mix a little bit of orange into your green, or mix a little bit of brown or whatever, and just make a different plant and put it somewhere. And then, you know, take some tan or teal or whatever and mix it into your green so that you get something different. The idea is just variety, and it doesn't have to be a certain green in any particular place. You just want a variety. Okay. And I'm just doing little splotchy dots and stuff. And now for flowers, you can totally do whatever colors you want. In fact, I will put some colors out here that you can come and grab and just be like, cool, I'm going to use that color for flowers. We've got like this coral color. We've got some purple, kind of a lavender color. We've got some, you know, bright red and stuff like that, right? Plus, you can mix anything that you'd like. So, what was that? Yeah. I swear I had it here. I don't know where it ended up. Let's see. Do you guys know where the grass screen is? Oh, yeah, here. I mean, I call it grass green, but it's kind of dark.
I didn't realize that's what you were looking for.
Yeah, no worries. Oh my gosh, these are looking so good. Holy cow. Oh man. You guys are doing. Oh, yes. Digging that waterfall and the tree highlights. This is so stinking pretty. Amazing job, Becca. These are so good. So good. Holy cow, you guys are painting. Trees, mountains, stuff that should be hard. Stuff that, like, you look at and you're like, no, can't paint that. Like, what? Like, why would I ever be able to do that? But you can. So With the flowers, this last little thing, I say last little thing, I'm the worst. I'm okay, I'm not the worst, but yes, absolutely. I'll show you to do birds, and I'll show you to do flowers. So flowers are really cool because you could totally just do like little dots and whatever. You could even use a pointy brush, which I have pointy brushes up here at the front of this table here, if you want to grab them. But what I noticed in probably just 3 paint nights ago, okay, I've been doing this like 8 years or something like that, right? 300 paint nights. But just a few paint nights ago, I realized that if you use the back of your brush and you kind of stir the whatever color you want, you kind of stir the paintbrush in with that all over, and you get kind of a blob on the back of the brush. Then you can just do little, you can just do little dots. And the nice thing about this is that it helps you to avoid polka dots. Polka dots are bad for flowers. You don't want to just do like polka dots because then it just looks too forced and too like 5-year-old like, right? If you want like natural flowers, you let the back of the brush do some of the work for you because you're going to get random strokes every time. And so you just kind of poke it with the back of the brush, and I rotate it as I go so that every time I put down a stroke, it's different. And as I run out of paint, I start to like roll the brush a little bit, and I start to get some really cool like random stuff. And so I've really been enjoying doing flowers that way. It's very like kind of loose and messy. It's nothing like super precise, like doing each petal or each individual flower very carefully. So you could definitely take that approach, but I find that I really like to do it this way. And it gets me some cool looking flowers pretty quickly. Now remember, there are some colors here if you want, like this coral color, if you want like bright or purpley colors and stuff that you can add to your palette, or you can mix whatever you want. Where's the purple? Oh yeah, the yellow would be awesome. Again, back of the brush can be really helpful, and just like tap it and rotate it as you go, so then you get like really different strokes. And let it be splotchy. Remember that flowers don't grow just like typically as one single flower, and then in polka dots that are just like one here, one there, one there, one there. They grow in clusters and groups, and as a part of a big plant that has a lot of them. Think more like a rose bush, you know what I mean, that has a bunch of roses on it, and they're all together. And then next to it, you might have flowers that look more like daisies or poppies or something else. And then you may have like some lavender plants somewhere else. So they can be grouped rather than just polka dots everywhere. I've got purple here, but then there is also another purple elsewhere. But in order to get this one to be brighter, you just can mix some white into it, and I've been getting a purple that I like, but it's up to you. And then where's that yellow?
Mine I got it but I'm trying to start over on this.
Where?
Right here. I
Oh.
messed up and I'm trying to.
Okay, you can throw some shadow back in there and then like start over, or you can add any different colors. people's time, you know, and so I just feel bad for going over time. But I appreciate you guys being here with me and sticking with me through this, especially because we're doing paintings that like if you look at the gallery of our almost 100 options that we have, most of them are paintings that have a lot of different techniques that you learn, and it's not just like doing a colorful background left to right and then putting like a black silhouette on top. You know what I mean? That's like a very common kind of paint night thing. But hopefully you guys go away with being like, whoa, I actually learned how to paint. Like I actually learned stuff that I can use. And then, you know, some of you may not be like, oh, I'm going to go be a painter, but hopefully you learned some good things. Yeah, Jake, what's up? Well, you know, I think each painting you do gets better and better for real, and the more you do it, it's like the better you get. Can I just rewind and yeah. Yeah. Yep, it's going to be on YouTube at the Hive Collaborative, and I'll also post it on my Paint with Caleb channel.
Am I able to host classes in Chartfield for those who watch this? Welcome to everybody. This is what we're doing.
He's stealing your thunder.
Yeah, totally. By the way, we are with our live streams. If you want to do the paint night online, of course, I'd love to have you in person. But if you want to participate online, you can, if you order your ticket with enough time in advance, then we can send you a painting kit. So we've just recently developed the painting kits, and I'm really excited about them. They come with the same paints that we use here at Paint Night, and with brushes and a palette and everything that you can keep. And so I'm really happy with the way the kits turned out.
Are they good for one paint night only or multiple?
So some of the stuff is reusable, but the paints are at least enough to get you through one paint night, but usually they'll allow you to, especially since you don't use every single color the same amount, you probably can get through 2 or 3 paint nights with the amount of paint that we send. But you can also request a paint refill if you already have like the brushes and the stuff like that. So, say that again, sorry?
I said acrylics really aren't that expensive.
Yeah, not too bad. And but I do recommend staying away from like craft acrylics in general. Some can be good, and some can like really not be that bad, but it's just a little bit more risky where you have to like paint layers like multiple times because it just doesn't cover well. So what I would do is stick with a brand that's like the medium, kind of like not the most expensive but not the most cheap either. So I really like Master's Touch from Hobby Lobby or Liquitex Basics. Those are really good brands. Which one? What? Delta. I think I have some paints by Delta that were given to me, and I was like, oh, I'm not familiar with this brand. But, yeah.
I'm like, do they even make it anymore? I don't know.
I wonder.
Still agree.
Sure. Yes.
For the paint refill, do you personally squeeze out all the paint?
Yes, and I give them each a little kiss. Yeah, for you. So,
There you go.
no, but I do pack, you know, we usually do pack them. Packs them, my wife, I love her. You saw her today, okay? Don't even start with me. Yeah. And he's also been my brother for a long time, so, you know, he should know this stuff. What did you say? Yeah, you know. Okay, well, this is the painting I should, oh, somebody said, whatchamacallit? Birds.
Also, the
Okay, so now, did you seriously say flamingos? Oh my gosh, this guy is just so funny. Comedy gold right here. Comedy. Okay, so if you guys want to do this, do the birds with black paint, you can. But honestly, you can just get something very close and very more like somewhat more natural, close to that with the dark brown and the dark blue. But I do have some black if you're just like, I'm so done with the mixing. But if you do like some brown and dark blue, you'll get something that's kind of a black color. These don't even have to be jet black. You could have them be a little bit like a charcoal gray or whatever, or maybe less prominent anyway. But I'm going to take just this corner of the brush. You want to be very careful with this, and make sure that you have a little bit of water mixed into your paint. And then you're going to do a little line here, even though that was a little bit thicker than I wanted it to be, but we'll make it a bigger bird. Yay! And then over on this side, we're going to do our wing.
So we don't have black, just like dark brown.
So I do have black right here, like if you want to just grab some of this, but if you want to mix it, you could just do brown and blue.
Would you mind drawing that a different way?
Upside down.
You're just not into my birds or something? Like
No,
you hate it?
Kind of confusing.
Okay, so
So
basically you want, rather than just doing an M, you want towards the body to be thicker and thicker, and then the very tip of the wing to be thinner. It's hard to get that, like it can be tricky. So if you end up just getting kind of like little M's or B's, then that's okay. But you also don't want for any bird to be looking exactly the same. So you want to change the angle, the size of it. So this one is going to be farther away, and I'm going to have it at a different angle, and its wings are going to be open at a different angle as well. So you see how this one is like more like a V instead of an M, and tilted towards a different way. So that way it looks like they're all doing their own thing. They're all unique.
you do a dragon?
Yes.
You did a dragon.
Yeah, mine's looking a little shoddy.
Oh my gosh, if you got a dragon, you could do like a bird thing, but then like extend out the neck or something, so then it like looks like it's a dragon, and then give it a tail. Oh my gosh, I kind of want to do that in this painting. Like I don't know if I want a dragon in the painting necessarily, but I want to make a dragon. Or a pterodactyl, yes. Well, that's pretty epic, because then it's just a painting of a landscape from like ages ago. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. Oh, we got the music. We got the music.
I think I'm gonna. My wife loves dragons.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Dracula.
I
I'm gonna throw a pterodactyl in here.
yeah.
And I'm gonna look it up.
Oh my gosh, how epic is that? How epic is that?
We're gonna name it Petrie.
Petrie? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, now you can even do tiny ones like boop, just a little thing like that. All right, so I made like 5, and I think I'm gonna stick with 5 because like already 5 is like a lot. It's like a party, you know what I mean? It's almost like somebody dropped their sandwich and everyone is coming. The birds are coming. So I'm gonna let that be, and I'm gonna be picky with all of these little details until I force myself to stop, which is now. Now, Caleb, now. Yellow. I've got a mustardy, oh my gosh, mustardy yellow here, but then we also have this, brighter yellow. Keep running into things. What do you need? The colorful ones? What was that?
I like your flower pins.
Oh, the paint pens?
Mine are so globby.
Are they globby?
Yeah. I don't like that.
Really? Because I really like them. They look so natural to me.
How did you get the purple ones? White?
I mixed some white into this this purple. Say what?
Are we done? Can we use a second?
To sign. They're in that box. If you'll open up that box, that would be awesome. Yes. So now we are ready to. Oh my gosh. we are ready to sign our paintings. If, you know, of course you can finish up details and whatever, but I want to let you know, I'm so sorry, Christina, it's just this orange thing right here. My bad. I was not very clear on that. So we have colorful paint pens here, which you may hate me for, because now you're like, oh, okay, so now you tell me I could have done flowers with that. But I actually purposely didn't today, and I've been doing that recently, and maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. But I just want to avoid people doing the polka dot thing. You know, because with these pens, you get these perfect, nice polka dots, but then you get flowers that just look like polka dots. They don't look like flowers. So feel free to come up here and pick which color that you would like to sign your painting with. Each one has a wide tip and like a fine tip. They're double-sided, so you can sign your painting however you would like. Plus, we have some metallic Sharpies and a couple of like metallic paint pens that can be nice. I just recommend that you test out whatever you're signing with on the tablecloth first, so you know if the ink is flowing well, or the paint technically, if the paint is flowing well, and if it's a color that you like. Because even though this marker shows this kind of orange, it's definitely not this kind of orange. And that's the case with all of the markers. They're just a little bit off from the color shown on the outside.
I need a light color.
You want a light color? Would you like something that goes with your flowers, or something like a green that's a little bit more?
It's like dark green that I'm writing on, so it probably.
Okay, so you could do, this is a lighter green, but it is very like fluorescent, so I don't know if you would want that. Maybe you would, maybe it would look good. You've also got some yellow. We've got white. You've got red. You could go Bob Ross style and do red. Did you say yellow? Okay. We also have gold and whatever, you know, so if you want shiny.
Can I try the white?
White.
Is there white?
Okay. There's white. Test it out.
Okay.
Some of these have seen better days, but. Anybody know what color they want right now, and I can just bring it to you, or?
I would love blue.
Okay. I will show you the blues that we have, but.
He's just messing with you.
So funny. Thanks for actually doing what I asked you to do, and then I'm so confused. Jake. I never know when that kid is actually kidding or not, you know? Unless it's something really absurd.
He's the same way. Yeah, it's like that dry humor thing.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Are you for real, or
Yeah.
are you just messing around?
Yeah, and I almost just
And then
said,
he just has no expression face.
yeah,
And just looks at me and I'm like,
and you're like, wait a second. But for real though.
yeah, exactly.
And then they love to just go along with it, even if they're kidding, and then you think that they're serious for like 3 days, and then you're like,
Tell him, but
dang
my
it.
son does weird things like
Oh, okay, okay.
he was standing outside the Deseret book, you know, Deseret book.
Uh-huh.
With Christ looking over some water. He's like, just sitting there, and I'm like, do I want to know what you're thinking? And he's like, I'm just wondering if he's trying to decide if he can do it again. I was like, okay, son.
Wow.
That's how he thinks. I'm like, really? Like,
Oh man.
really? Like, he's in depth though.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. Was he being for real, or was he being joking?
I don't know.
Because
really don't
because it's
know.
like it's kind of like a funny like silly joke,
Maybe he
but it
was
could also be
thinking,
it could
hey,
also be a very deep thing. Like if he's
it-
for real,
he
right?
does stuff like that, and I'm just like,
Oh my gosh! So then you're really confused, because then you're like, is this actually?
and I'm like, and I'll just go, all right then.
Yeah, you kind of just have to go with it and be like,
Walks away, and I'm just like,
oh my goodness. That's so funny. Oh my goodness, you guys.
I'm not taking home the finished product.
Oh yes, I know. Isn't it so fun?
Sign right up on this if I have something to put down.
Oh nice. Okay.
Not too shabby.
Everybody, can I have your attention real fast as you guys are signing and finishing up? I want to thank you so much for coming here to Provo, to the Hive Collaborative. I want to thank Davis so much for the magic that you make every every day. And with this live stream especially, thank you so much, Davis, for getting this set up. Thank you to Jake for helping me set up, and to anybody else who helped set up. I want to remind you that the Hive Collaborative is launching our Arts Academy that is for youth and adults on September 5th. So you can go ahead and sign up for the paint night that's happening on September 5th, but you will sign up for it on the hivecollaborative.com website rather than the paintwithcaleb.com website. I don't have it up yet.
Open yet though, because I just checked it and it says it's coming.
On the hivecollaborative.com?
Yeah, I tried to open up. It said that it was coming.
Oh,
Might not be on the website.
if you go onto the homepage, if you wouldn't mind, like if any of you who are interested in looking into that, if you'll go onto the homepage and let me know if that's there.
Because it was saying it was coming,
Okay.
and I was like,
Yeah, I may have set it to not be allowed to register for it yet or something weird. But essentially, by tomorrow, if it doesn't work, then I'll fix it. And tomorrow you can sign up for the next paint night on September 5th. That's going to be really cool. It's going to be a tree with flowing fall leaves. Just go to the homepage and scroll down. Yep, scroll down. Past production down to studio. Keep going, keep going. And then right there, you should see an event there. Yeah.
I guess I didn't see it. I went to that one.
Oh, that is just fine. I do need to make it a little bit more clear, but
Cool, I want that one.
I know, isn't that fun? And that will be definitely less technical than this one, with less layers of mountains and different things. So it'll be a little bit more easygoing, but it'll be really fun. And yes, let's definitely get pictures of people in their groups. I guess just to live stream and video people, thank you so much for being a part of this. And we hope that you will sign up for classes here at the Hive Collaborative. We're also going to be doing online courses, online classes. Sorry, I'm probably not lined up with the camera. But you will be able to sign up for in-person classes as well as online. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, we hope you join us again. No, you're fine. You're fine.